When your fighting spirit has started to rust, when your heart's on justice just let you go bust, you know you can't keep going, but you just can't make it stop. A life that's never slowing, on its way up to the top. Why can't it all slow for a moment? Give us all time to breathe. Why don't they know that every GI needs his time on leave? You know deep down this just can't last year after year. So stand up back and show you how hearts of metal still can feel. Hearts of metal still can feel.
Oh, Ohio Tog. Hello, everyone. Long time, no stream. It's good to see you as well, Panda. Hello, Evan. Hello, Panda. Well, today is going to be a little bit of Zatsu. We're going to hang out. We're going to relax. Well, you say long time no stream. I mean, I don't know, like, how long it's been since you hung out for one of my streams. I've been streaming, right? But today we're going to relax. We're going to talk about some stuff. We're going to hit some topics. Relax, as the kids say. I do enjoy relaxing. It's one of those things that I enjoy doing. Blame time travel. I always blame myself, never time travel. You can't blame yourself. You can't blame anything other than the self. Hello, everyone. Hold on. We got the music. I blame CERN. Oh, yeah. It's of a grave concern. Get it? Get it? Grave concern? Eh? Yeah, that's right. Hi, everybody. How's it going? Did you know I can do this? Wop. I can take my helmet off now if I push. Like I got a little like button over there. See? So now you can see my hair kind of bounce about. I'm gonna keep the helmet on though. Helmet stays on during. No, you're too perfect for blaming. Oh, thank you. Hello, everyone. Today we are hanging out. We're enjoying a nice Thursday, Wednesday. I was gonna do something today. I can't remember what it was. So instead, I'm going to take some time out to talk about my love of hobbies and what I was doing today. Hello everyone, I am Himawari Kotetsu, and I oftentimes stream. I used to stream 7 days a week for a bit, and then I was 6 days a week for a bit, and now we're lucky if we get like 2 days, cause, you know, it turns out I've got bad time management, and ever since I started actually sleeping more than 3 hours at a time, man, my entire day just went out of whack. Did you guys know that for the last, like, 15 years or so, I usually just slept about 3 hours at a time and then had a day where I'd crash and recover? Yeah, that's your welcome to the stream, because that's what I used to do. And now I actually kind of sleep. And I'm sleeping too much. I've become old. Sleep is good. I hate sleep. Sleep is bad. It's fun to catch you up live? Oh, heck yeah. I like it. I like being live, you kidding me? Being live's fun. It's good to rest. No, it's not, because resting's bad.
Winners don't need sleep, they need accolades.
Agreed, Gunther. Agreed. You and me, we're on the same page. Hold on. I'm gonna bounce this thing. I'm gonna keep it in screen. Hold on. Give me that. Ah! Become a space marine and sleep half your brain at a time? Oh, I'd be up for that. Are you kidding me? I could get so much more done again. So chat, today I've been working on a cosplay. Now, you guys may not know this, but I actually stitch most of my own clothing these days. I stitch my own clothes. It's nice. I also do, like, other various things, but for the important thing right now, I have been working on a cosplay. Now, it is an interesting one for me personally, because I need to learn to do that. You should learn how to do stitching. It's very fun, very satisfying. I have decided that it'd be fun to redesign Romelia Nephis's old costume and to take the concept, the core concept, but instead of Lolly, I'm gonna make it Butler. And I think it'll be interesting, because I'm trying to combo the two versions of her costume, her old costume and her new costume. And it's been interesting, trying to get creative in ways to take things from the feminine and the youthful and turn it into the masculine and the older, refined gentleman. Holy crap, I'm not very good at it, but it's been fun to work on all the same. Do you know how hard it is to take a frilly, lacy, Lolly-inspired costume and turn it into something a man can actually wear? Hold on. Wait, I'm gonna bump this. Hello, Yuki! Hold on. I want to see if I can... Where'd it go? Aha! Ha! Ha! Wait. It's gonna bounce up. Yeah! Nothing but net, baby. But yeah, no. I like her as a streamer. Like, I mean, as we know, Pippa's the Oshi, right? It used to be Sakura Miko, and I think somewhere deep in my heart, I still feel that like special place. That's you in real life? Oh my gosh! Hey! Nice! Nice-oo! Nice-oo! Well, it's good to see you in. I hope you're having a wonderful day. Welcome in, Yuki. But yeah, no, I was working on the cosplay stuff, so I got some new buttons together. I got these little... could you do a YouTube tutorial? I need to hem pants. I mean, I guess I could. I'd have to get a setup for it. So I used to have a hand cam setup that has a white box. So for those of you who aren't aware, is it white box or light box? I don't know the English wording for it. But there's these little boxes you can get, right? And it keeps the lighting perfectly balanced and bounces off the sides, so that when you have a camera into it, there is no external data from anything outside of the box. And I've been wanting to get that back together, because I could do some very fun hand cam streams using the white box, light box, white box, whatever it is. It's a box, right? The box has a position for your camera, and then you can look down into the box from various points that the camera can mount, and it keeps any sort of information bleed from that. So I could set that up, we could get that good. Might be fun. I could show you guys some basic stuff about tailoring. Box thing? Okay, so it is a box, and you attach a camera to it, right? And it has little holes that your arms go into.
What's in the box?
What's in the box? My hands. My hands would be in the box. It's used for doing, like, filming, right? So it's got no external lighting, so I wouldn't have to worry about doxing anything, right? I could just get a camera together, have it in the box, have the camera at the box. Then just you'd be able to see my little hands moving stuff around. I was tempted, if I was going to do that, right? I would probably set up an actual cosplay beforehand. I mean, properly let you guys see my arms. Yeah. So that you guys could, you know, I could do some sewing tutorials and whatnot. That'd be fun. Because, like, one of the most useful things that was just something that you don't think about. Did you guys know that it's actually kind of complicated, but also cool, to get a button sewed on right? That was something that was fun for me to learn. I've done entire, like, cosplays from scratch. They're not good. I'm never gonna sit here and say any of the work I've done is good, right? But it's stuff that I'm passionate about. It's stuff that I'm happy about. It's stuff that makes me feel better, right? I love art. I love building things. I love working with things. It makes me happy. Working, building, constructing, moving, shaking. I love it. Whether we're talking about working on stained glass, whether we're talking about working on the tricks to have both warm white and cool lights inside the box that helps the pop. Ooh, yeah. No lie, getting the button right can be infuriating. Well, one of the things you have to remember, right? So you want to do a nice, steady sort of pace, in through one side, down through the other side, up through that, and like halfway through, or a bit over halfway through, you want to wrap the string around the knitting you've already done, or the sewing the button into place that you've already done, right? It's like you wrap real tight, pull it tight as you can each time, right? And then you create this little, like, multi-layer that then you can stick through again, and it solidifies the actual thing. Hello, Blue Coin. Welcome in. I hope you're doing well. How's the new place treating you, buddy? Today is an evening of just chatting. We don't necessarily have a purpose for it, but we're going to have some fun anyway. Because I feel like it's been a while since we've just hung out, no video game, no nothing, no topic, and I just genuinely sat down to talk to you guys. Because I think that could be helpful, right?
Welcome.
Welcome. Hold on. Hey, get back in the frame. Ha ha, poggers. Yes, the pog snake. I am a mature grown man. I've bought a house before. I am mature.
Welcome in.
Yeah. Where is it? It's gonna be out there. It's gonna be there. Where is it? House? Yeah, I don't have it anymore, but at one point I bought a house. I got the moon base now. Actually, no, I do still have... Okay. So I've got the house, which is like a house that I can't live in because we can't afford to keep it heated, so I just kind of keep it there. Which sucks. I got the moon base. That's a nice place. The moon base is nice. Moon base, comfy. Excellent, bought new games over the cold that was hitting last week. Hell yeah. But yeah, no, what I was saying, right? So I'm working on a new cosplay. And they used to have Joann's Fabrics in the States, right? Now, I like to do my shopping in the United States because they don't have a warrant out for my arrest. So I hop down. I got a Gunther to drive me down planetside. And then I find out they don't have Joann's Fabrics anymore. And it was frustrating. It was genuinely frustrating. Because do you know how much fabric I used to get from Joann's Fabrics? I would buy a 10-yard spool of fabric. Isn't there help for utilities considering your various conditions? Yes, but it's complicated. There is help. It can help. I've been trying to get through there. I'm on a waiting list, right? And I have been on this fucking waiting list for that, Flaming. I have been on that waiting list since 2022. And I'm still on that waiting list. They're gonna get back to me eventually. It's gonna be great. I check with my lawyer every so often. I love it. So I'm stuck on the moon. That's the secret truth here. That's why I'm on the moon, right? I hop down. Oh no, my pancakes! You have a moon base? I do have a lot of Gunthers. I have the moon base. It's comfy. It's nice. But yeah, no, I used to go to Joann's Fabrics all the time, and I would buy, like, 10 yards of fabric. And I would just, like, use that to make clothing. I would make a bunch of, like, stitched up... I'd build, like... I like button-down shirts, right? I like dressing fancy, and your only options, if you like to dress fancy, is to go over to a thrift store, right? Or make it yourself. Because it feels like the only style of fashion anyone has anymore is just leisure wear or athletic wear, right? Those are like your two options. I love wearing suit and tie. I love wearing button-down shirts.
Rise up over corporate classes, OBE corporate sponsored messages.
But I love making, like, I tailored some of my own suits. I tailored a jacket recently. It was really nice. I've made some of my own, like, I'm realizing I'm reaching out of frame here. I can't really bring them into frame. They're here on the moon base with me, right? They're just out of frame. You can't see them yet. They're out of frame. But I've tailored my own suit jackets, my own vests. I've made my own ties, my own bow ties. I've made a lot of stuff. It's fun. I like making clothing. It makes me happy. My little sis likes to make stuff with cloth. It's her specialty. She can make... Ooh, oh, man. I would love to make some traditional, like, either Japanese or Korean clothing. Actually, you know what? I'd like to learn a bunch of different traditional. I appreciate the gusto, but wearing itchy monkey suit isn't ideal for me. Okay. if it's itchy, you're wearing it wrong, or it's the wrong fabric for you. There are okay, I have one of these. Why am I trying to go? I'm grabbing for the suits right now. So I have a Giorgio Armani that I got from a thrift store for $50. Now, $50 at a thrift store is very expensive because in the United States, for example, where I normally go to do all my thrifting, you can get a suit for like $7. They sold this thing for like $50, right? Oh, man! Oh! It is so much. Okay, if you have never worn a fancy suit, like a really nice, expensive one, oh, there is so much of a difference, right? Like, Blue, I know that there are really uncomfortable suits, right? But when you put on one of those, like, really nice suits with a silk interior, oh, it's night and day. No, I love modifying my suits as well. So I'll put, like, a real nice, like, silk, like, thin silk, beautiful stuff, and I'll stitch that in on the interior. I will make that stuff as comfortable as I can. Sometimes I've added, like, some polyester on the interior, right? Oh, is that all I can do for options? There's anyone who makes good clothes anymore? There's a few companies, right? A lot of them you're going to be paying a lot of money. One of the crazy things, if you go onto like AliExpress or like Temu or like those cheap Chinese places, you can get some stuff. It's not going to be fitted. You're not going to find really good fitting anymore. If you want hoodwear, as in like ghetto clothing, there's plenty of stores for that. There's a lot of leisure wear, athletic wear, like stuff that just, it'll look semi-decent, but it's bad, man. You're not going to be respectful. Nobody's going to respect a villain who shows up in a hoodie and Jordans. All right, a very small list of people are going to respect the villain who shows up in a hoodie and Jordans. Me? I'm going to show up in my Giorgio Armani, and I'm going to shoot your ass. That's what makes me evil. It's great. There's tailor-made, then there's made with love. Yeah. My auntie made me a pair of dragon pajamas. They were comfy as fuck. Well, yeah, if you make it, like, okay. If you're willing to modify clothing, you can get pretty comfy clothing that you, like, okay. So you get a piece of clothing that's not comfortable on its own, right? You get it one size larger than it needs to be. If you tailor that stuff by modifying it, you add a bit of padding in the right spots, oh, you can take it from itchy, miserable, and scratchy to just heavenly, silky smooth. Oh, when they have to go to the dry cleaners instead of just being able to throw it in your home washer? You don't have one of those? Oh. Yeah, no, okay, so there's home dry cleaning kits you can get. Very lovely. Very lovely. I also iron my clothing, which is something that a lot of people aren't really willing to do. Ironing is a lost art, and it's very nice, and I love it. Seriously. There's nothing made for Temu. There's nothing on Temu made for anybody above 6 feet. I've seen some options. I know. Oh, it's got Rose in the title. It's not Wind Rose. It's not Desert Rose. It's got Rose in the title. There's a place that's got Rose in the title that's got some decent stuff. I'm willing to pay more. I'm tired of buying t-shirts that fade in less than a year. Tack pants are the only things made well. Okay, if you're willing to go with Army Surplus, you can do worse than Army Surplus, right? It depends on what kind of style you're looking for. Some of the big, what is it? There's, I forget the name of it. There's like some coat company that's got big and tall. It's like an international brand.
Silky, Smortus HIES voice.
Hey, my hype man Gunther. Bring back suspenders. Dude! Hold on. Gotta keep it bouncing. Keep it bouncing. Hold on. This is more important. I love suspenders. So, you want to know something crazy that I found out? Did you know there's people who wear their vests under their suspenders? So, I don't know if you guys are familiar with the purpose of a vest. I don't know if you guys... Not overalls, suspenders. So, alright, the idea of a belt is a more recent invention that was originally crafted... So there's sachets, there are rope belts, but a proper, like, belt with a belt buckle is a more modern invention that was created as a way to get around the fabric constraints of using suspenders. Suspenders are, you have a... I'm trying to reach to show things, but they're out of frame. So suspenders have these little clamps, and the clamps hook onto your pants and hold them up, right? There's high waist, there's low waist. Nobody does proper waisted pants anymore. It's all so... Ugh! Do you know how hard it is to find a pair of pants with a proper waist on it anymore? It's miserable. It's awful. And I can't accept it. That's why when I take over this planet, I am going to force all of you to have actual fashion here. I don't care if it's a cultural fashion, but I am so done with the sweatshirts and the sweatpants and the fucking, like, loose-fitting bullshit. Nothing's tailored. Nothing works. Nobody's fancy. I want people to be fancy again, damn it. If you want to wear that stuff in your house, that's one thing, right? But there is no men's fashion anymore. There's women's fashion. But there's no men's fashion. So, with suspenders, right? I'm snapping my suspenders. Yeah. Ow! 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 Fuck! Why did that hurt so much? I'm stupid. That smack to yourself was a reminder to remain humble. I don't need to be humble. I'm evil! My head glows. Look at that. Does your head glow? See? Look. Also, chat, did you guys know that I can tie that to my heart rate? The glowing? Oh, I snapped my suspenders, and they snapped a lot harder than I was expecting, and it really hurt. So, suspenders usually have, like, crossed cloth on the back, right? And straight cloth in the front. They were made out of leather, they were made out of cloth, but during World War I, there was a massive push to swap people over to the belt instead of the suspenders because they realized that you could use half the cloth, right? They'd use like half the cloth, but traditional clothing, you had like the sachet belt, you had the suspenders, you had a lot of different options. My biggest problem is not even necessarily people choose to go for the slovenly look or the hood look or the ghetto look or whatever, right? If you want to dress like you just got out of a rap shoot, that's fine. I am more than happy to let you dress like you just woke up out of bed and threw on whatever was in the bottom of the buy and low, right? I am fine with that. My problem is there's not options, right? You don't get to wear a cloak anymore, you don't get to wear suspenders anymore, you don't get to have, like, actual button-down shirts. There's polos, but you don't really get to, you know what I mean? Right? You don't... I like options, and I hate how we have done this whole thing of removing people's options. I'm one of those weirdos who, even when I was doing, like, game design stuff, when I was working for evil associates... Hold on.
Armor is the future.
Hold on. Wait. Ah, we lost it. Oh, wait. Hold on. Where'd it go? Is it coming back down? Is that a turtle head? Is that supposed to be a turtle head, or is that... Anyway. You worked for EA? I never said that. I never said those words. Blue Coin, I never said those words, Blue Coin. I said I worked for an evil association. I am a fictional character. Fictional characters can't work for real companies. You understand this, right? Similar acronym. It has nothing to do with Electronic Arts. Hey, look up the EA spouse argument at one point. That's a fun one. The spouse testimony. Or, Command and Conquer. Or some of those other... Anyway, so, when I worked at some of those places, I always was the guy who's like, hey, can we just give choices to the players instead? Stealth General. Can we give more choices to, like, the, Can we give more choices to players, right? Can we? Like, I don't care if you're doing cosmetics shit. EA Sports. It's up your ass. EEE. EEE. Explosives General. But yeah, no. I was always that weirdo who was like, hey, can we give more choices to people? Because I like the idea. Power to the players. GameStop. That was GameStop. GameStop. Power to the players. I like the idea of people being able to choose things. And that's why I'm like, I would like us to be able to bring back the sash, right? Because you could use a sash to hold your pants up. I'd like for us to bring back cloaks. I'd like for us to bring back suspenders. I'd like to not have to deal with concessions made for fucking World War I for the rest of history. I'd like it if all of our fashion wasn't just concessions made for a cloth shortage during World War I and World War II. Because you guys know why we don't have suspenders. It's World War I. You guys know why we don't have vests. You guys know why we don't wear suits and vests and nice button-downs? World War II and Afghanistan. Chat, our fashion hasn't been genuine in fucking years, and it makes me so angry because we have these artificial bastards from the government who show up and constrain this shit over and over and over again, and they just come out and they artificially constrain and say, that's not cool anymore, you can't do that, you can't do this, and they get rid of it. It's not that people stopped buying suspenders, they stopped selling suspenders. It's not that people stopped buying vests, they stopped selling the vests. When these people come out of their way to stop you from getting these things, that's my problem. I like a nice double-breasted suit. I like a nice pair of suspenders. By the way, to get back to my earlier topic, oh yeah, no, I love traditional clothing. Whether we're talking Chinese traditional, Japanese traditional, Korean traditional, American traditional, Victorian traditional, Roman traditional, I like historical garb as well. I like respectable garb. I like licentious garb. I like lewd garb. I like clothing. Clothing is cool. Crazy, I know. I want my Village Inn brownie pie back, damn it. Watching Cheech and Chong Up in Smoke right now. Just watch Cheech and his red suspenders. That's fashion. Well, but you get what I'm saying, right? I want people to be able to dress differently. But I like it. I like it. I think people should be able to have different options other than just, here's baggy sweatpants. Here's the same bomber jacket 500 times in a row. Here, like, let's have everybody look exactly the fucking same. They pretend that they've got high fashion in France. Have you ever seen any of that shit stick around? No. It's all boring crap. All the guns are Glocks. All the clothing is sweatpants. There's maybe a polo. Oh, hold on.
Lunar traditional.
Where's it? Yeah, Lunarian traditional is pretty cool too. Yeah. Hold on. Come on, I'm gonna catch it. It's gonna. Damn it. Open a haberdashery and advertise it. Well, there's the thing, right? Like, there are those options. The problem is, a lot of the times they get shut down hard. Like, I like making hats. I like making clothing. I like making stuff. I like building things. Lunarian, the race from Final Fantasy IV, the race from Toho. Well, I guess the Final Fantasy IV guys could be welcome here, too. I don't know, man. Maybe. But, like, okay, so to get back to my idea from earlier, right? I am saddened by the fact that so many people have decided to wear their suspenders outside of their vest, right? Makes me sad. Well, so was Toho. Toho was also made in the early 90s. Toho's from the 90s, dude. I have seen so many people going with that style, right? So, do you guys know what the purpose of a vest is? Maybe I'm wrong on this, but last time I checked, the purpose of a vest is to hide your undergarments. So, men wear a vest to... Hold on. Excuse me. Hold on. No. We're gonna... So, I'm trying to talk while I'm bouncing these skulls. Hold on. Excuse me. Don't drop it. Don't drop it. No. There's so many pogs. Hold on. Yeah, baby! Not a single one dropped. So, vests. There are vests that are... Okay, so the sleeveless men's suit vest is meant to hide your undergarments as a man, because the belt was considered an undergarment, and the suspenders considered an undergarment. You're not supposed to have your undergarments exposed, right? So, there's the idea that your suspenders would be covered up over by the vest. And it was something that you could just take it off easy, put it on, but it made you look more respectable. And you could hold up your pants, and nobody would be able to see how you were holding up your pants. Then there's like the massive belt buckles that catch on after a while. There's people wearing vests under their suspenders. There's Bioshock Infinite's world demonstrates a lot of the fashion flair whose absence you lament. Yeah, no, I love the art style in Infinite. I just don't like the storyline, right? I'm not a big fan of the story and what it tries to pass off. I like the general art style. The art style is fun. Some of the characters are fun. It does show some decent fashion that I'm talking about here. There's some variety in there. There is a sort of malice behind a lot of the choices in Infinite that I'm not up for, right? I like women for reasons. Same. I like women as well. Women are cool. And sometimes highly attractive. I wish I had a vest like my Rockstar friend. Titanium weave, makes it bulletproof. Got roses on it. You're talking the, it sounds like a, not supposed to, versus having it there for kind suspenders reasons. Seems like they wouldn't have cut out so much content if they waited a generation to make it PC exclusive. Oh, dude, can I just tell you guys how many games have been butchered and ruined by being put on home consoles? Do you guys remember a little game? There's this tiny little game. I don't think any of you have ever heard of it. It's called Deus Ex. There's this little known indie game. It's called Deus Ex. Maybe you've heard of it once or twice, but it's this video game, right? And they made a sequel, and they put it on the Xbox. And Microsoft had demands that they had to have they had to have parity between the Xbox and the PC, right? And so, they cut the world size to a fifth. They cut the dialogue options in half. They cut everything down as low as they possibly could to make it run on the Xbox. The fucking Oblivion cuts. Like half a game. Basically, they took a game that had really, really good potential as a sequel to one of the greatest considered by many, the greatest games of all time. And in that sequel, they cut out everything that made the original game good because Microsoft told them, you have to make this just as good on Xbox as it is on PC. They did the same thing with Oblivion as well. There's a bunch of stuff that's been cut, right? And we had a lot of games where you had a superior version that was being put out. Hello, Ming! Welcome! Where you had a superior version that was coming out on PC, that was made for PC, right? And they would cut and 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 cut until it would run on the consoles. I was excited as a kid getting Deus Ex. Then I got it and was like, no. No. I can understand that. But what I'm saying with all of this, right? There's a lot of times. They should have told Microsoft it was going to be several discs then. Yeah, but you can't do that because they will tell you, no. You're going to have it on one disc. And the thing is, right? I hate the fact that for so long, studios wouldn't let you put something on multiple discs. I don't see what the problem is. Okay, I do see what the problem is, right? The problem is it costs more money to have more discs because you're going to have to print more copies, you're going to have to take up more shelf space, not everybody's going to do it. But if you get a basic jeweled case, right? Hold on. Where'd it go? Where's my face? Aha! Aha! Yeah. Yeah. If you get a basic jeweled case, right? If you get a basic jewel case, you're basically only paying for the extra discs. You're not really paying for the extra space. You're probably spending, I guess on a full print run, you're probably going to be spending an extra like $100,000. But an extra $100,000 on a multi-million-dollar project doesn't seem like it's really going to be that much. You know what I mean? Well, if something bad happens to one of those discs and you have a ruined set, they have to buy another one. And that's going to make us more money. Because we're not going to let you recall it. I'm talking from the studio perspective, because it's usually the studio that says, nah, you can't put it on multiple discs. Fuck you, fit it on one. And it also has to be exactly the same on the consoles as it is on the PC. So go neuter the game that you've made. No, I'm talking like purely from like the business's side of things, because like the business isn't going to care if it gets scratched, right? The business isn't going to care if it gets damaged. The business cares about, making money. I'm just saying, like, for the amount of extra money you'll have income out of putting it on multiple discs instead of one, you're going to make more money than you're going to spend by just making it good enough for the PC version and splitting off what you can onto the multi-discs. Now, these days you don't have as much of a problem with that, but the problem these days is the processing power, right? Because we can't handle the graphics, and nobody knows how to optimize anymore. And everyone wants to make it all the same to run on literally everything, but the problem is, they also don't want to do their optimization, right? Nobody wants to optimize, no one wants to build proper. Everybody wants everything to be the same damn thing. I still have my Half-Life 2 install discs. Same, brother! Preach it! 5 CDs for Half-Life 2. There is no problem I have. There's another reason. They could have told him they'd make less money. Yeah, but the thing is, right? They wouldn't have made less money. They would have made... jeez. Yeah, no. You'll make more money if you let us just make it parity with PC, right? Instead of having parity with the consoles, let's have the consoles parity with the PC by getting more discs. Yeah, it's going to cost you more money, but you'll make more money. You'll leave money on the table if you don't do this. This is why you should have let me be in a better position. When I was doing any of my stuff, as a young evil overlord, trying to figure out how best to manipulate the masses, I took on the mantle of trying to work for a gaming studio, and you know what? I should have done better. They should have trusted me. Don't they know who I am? I'm evil! But yeah, no, I just did, like, team management stuff, and I did, like, some basic bitch. A lot of stuff that I was doing, like, with game stuff. I was a design team lead, so I wasn't actually doing the designing myself. How do I put this? So, the job that I worked, right, was I take the art, and I get it from the artist to the level designer. I get the concept art there. I build the portfolio out that shows what it's supposed to be. I'm organizing a bunch of data for other people that other people have made. I'm making sure the guy who's designing the enemies is talking with the guy who's designing the level, and the guy who's designing the code for the enemies is working with all these other guys. I'm just doing some basic, like, hey, I should have. You know, it's not too late. Oh, hold on. Pepe, get back. No, it's so hard to bounce. There's too many of them. Hold on. Pepe, my child. Whoa, sweet child of mine. Whoa, sweet love of mine. I have a validity question. What do you do when your minions are complaining about safety hazards regarding, like, booby trap doors, scaffolding pathways above law with no railings? Okay. So you gotta handle this the way that the United States Navy handles it, alright? So on a submersible, if you're ever working for the United States Navy, chat, I want you guys to remember that one of the key protocols is that if you're ever getting boarded, you rip down all the safety features. You, as a villain, need to have a proper protocol for detecting when enemies are entering the base, and instead of doing big lights and sounds and everything else, right? What you need to do is you quietly notify your workers, and you have them start taking down the safety rails. Remove the railing from the catwalks. Remove these little safety features. Oh, leave open grates so you can throw people into it, but only when you're getting attacked, so you can keep the safety during your downtime, because you're not always going to be getting invaded, alright? I want you guys to remember this. As a villain, you're not always going to be under assault, right? You're not always going to be getting invaded. You are going to have downtime. You're going to have relaxed time. You're going to have time. And you want to keep your Gunthers, in my case, right? In my case, it's my lovely little Gunthers. These guys are great. You're great, Gunther. Love you, buddy. So I've got a few thousand of these guys. But I still want to keep them safe, right? Yeah, retractable safety features. That's what I'm talking about. Have safety features that are there. It's not about OSHA compliance, right? As a villain, I don't give a fuck about OSHA, right? OSHA can suck my horns. Why did you time the quack so perfectly for me saying OSHA can suck my horns? Horns. What I care about is actually having combat functional minions, right? I care about my minions being combat functional. I care about my minions being able to... Hold on. I care about my minions being able to actually fight the other guy, right? That's important for me, right? Sometimes you're doing the invading. Yeah, no, but you need your guys to be healthy for the invading. It's not about just their welfare, right? Like, some people would say I'm a bad villain because I actually care about my minions, right? I don't want my minions to get unnecessarily injured. Now, if I shove a minion out of an airlock, or I kill a minion, that's me doing something to establish dominance, right? If you allow a small issue to go unpunished, it'll build into a big issue, right? But that's not because I hate my minions. Hello, Soucho! I hope you were enjoying Roller Coaster Tycoon. I helped unrig your vote. I hope you like that. I kept, re-unbalancing it every single time. It was great. They'd try to, deadlock it. I'd fix it.
Don't worry, boss. I'm combat ready.
See? But what I'm saying is, a lot of the time, people get it confused, right? They think that I'm heartless. I'm not. I genuinely want my minions to be as healthy and as ready as they possibly can be, right? And that's why we do safety features. But that's also why you do safety features you can remove, right? Retractable safety features, things that you can disable in case of emergency in order to make sure that hero has the biggest chance of dying, right? You need your people to be able to get into combat, right? You need them to be able to stand firm and be able to say, hey, boss, I am going to die for you. Not because I slipped and fell, because somebody didn't clean up a puddle, and we had slip, trip, and fall hazards due to a bunch of cables. You don't want your minion falling and breaking his neck. Not because you're some sentimental guy who's just sitting there, oh no, all of my minions are sacred. All life is sacred. No, please protect them. No, fuck that. It's so they can actually get out there and do their job. And the more they can go out there, right? The more they can go out there, the better they'll do. The longer they survive, the more loyal they'll be to you. It's a simple mathematics thing. Kindness on its own, for its own sake, is for bitches. And that's why good will always lose. Because good is dumb. But being evil for the sake of evil, if you're evil, you have to be evil in a way that makes sense, right? You have to moderate your evil in the way that's the most efficient way to get going what you really want to happen, right? Excuse me, hold on. I'm bouncing some of these. These are fun. Didn't Darth Helmet have that motto? Yes. And you have to be willing. That's another thing. Plagiarism. Plagiarism. Plagiarize, plagiarize, plagiarize. I also plagiarize that. Say, be willing to steal. But also, remember, evil is more than just doing the wrong thing. It's doing things for the wrong reason. You know what I mean? It's not necessarily what you do. It's making sure that you're doing it for the evil that's in your heart, right? You gotta, look inside yourself and understand, why am I doing what I'm doing here? And how can I make certain that it'll be to enrich myself, right? How do I make certain that through it all, I'm constantly enriching myself at the expense of other people in the most efficient way that hurts me the least, right? These are the things you have to remember, right? It's what's on the inside that counts. The inside of your cold, blackened, dead heart. That's what matters. It's why you're doing this. That's what makes it evil. Just killing somebody isn't evil on its own. You have to be doing it out of a place of self-aggrandizement, out of self-pride, of true villainy. That's the secret, right? That's the secret deep down inside. But again, how are you going to take over a town? How are you going to commit horrific acts of evil, genocide, murder, robbery if you're going for that? How are you going to do that if you don't have people? And how are you going to have people if you don't keep them safe enough to do what they got to do, right? You are going to need a source of lieutenants. And while for a time you can abuse your friendships in order to force them into positions, you can use blackmail, you can use all kinds of these classical things to try and get more people, right? But why not promote internally, right? I mean, sure, you could take other people, but there's only so many people out there, right? You get what I'm saying, right? We've all been there, right? So why not keep these people around long enough that you can get them to a position where they can actually be used, right? It doesn't seem, it's not rocket science here. It's not rocket science. It's never been rocket science. You have to be able to keep them happy enough to die for you. Willing enough to fight. They have to be afraid of you and happy. They have to be stressed enough that they're not going to turn on you. They're not going to think you're some namby-pamby who's not going to punish them if they mess up, right? If they mess up, you have to be willing to break some fingers. You have to be willing to kill some people. You know, do some things, right? But you have to be considerate of what is going to let me commit the greatest evil in my life, right? I could take a lesser evil now, or I could take a greater evil later. I could be kind. I can let my workers have discount meals in the lunchroom, right? Or I could even pay for the meals myself. And then they're not going to be hungry, right? Or I can not feed them, and they'll be hungry, and they'll be tired, and they'll be agitated, and when the hero offers them food, they'll run for it, right? It's a balancing act. It's about balancing out your evil to make it as functional as you can. Yeah, it's still good to get allies as a villain. Exactly. You can do things that are a good thing for the wrong reason, right? Never be afraid to do the right thing for the wrong reason. Because really the reason you're doing it and the end result is more important, right?
Look at Scar and HIS be prepared song.
Yeah. I mean, Scar made some issues in that he didn't keep them enough food, right? He let them overeat, whereas you kind of need to, like, keep your stuff balanced and keep your stuff working out there. His long-term problems were a problem with logistics management more than anything else, right? It's sad. It's genuinely sad. But, like, no, well, you can still do that as well, but you get what I'm saying, right? Like, you can be kind in order to be evil later, right? There's nothing wrong with choosing to help someone in need so that you can abuse their trust later, right? There's nothing wrong with that. Sometimes you have to help an old lady cross the street in order to kill her grandson later, okay? Like, that's the best way I can put this to all my aspiring young villains out there, right? Sometimes you have to plant a few rose gardens to burn down the White House. The Canadians knew that. The Canadians knew that. You can't tell me they didn't. That and don't let the other guy win. That's very important, too. Isn't half of Sun Tzu's Art of War just seriously feed your troops? I plagiarized that. Yeah, it basically is. Man. You could give rank-based incentives to different tiers of minions. I still recommend that. Giving incentives to try and push people up the ranks. Maybe that old lady is secretly... Exactly. You never know when you helping out that old lady across the street. Maybe when she gets home, she'll beat her kids. And maybe that'll inspire a little bit of evil in the world. You never know when a good act could cause a greater ripple of evil later. Maybe that little old lady, she's going to come home later, and she is going to beat the hell out of her kids, and then they are going to turn into just the most horrific monsters. And you're going to have a part of that. And it's going to really... Like, it's the long-term game, right? And yes, a lot of times, maybe that little old lady will be genuinely a kindly old lady who's actually going to make the world a better place. But you got to have faith that your evil intentions will shine through, right? You need to be confident that your evil will shine through and will make the world a worse place in the long run, even if you have to do a few good things along the way, right? Sometimes you have to gain Benito Mussolini's trust to later betray Benito Mussolini. Because Mussolini's gonna just, like, swap sides, left, right, left, right, left, right. He's kind of gonna hop around a lot. He's kind of like a rabbit like that. I believe that's why they named that character Judy Hopps in that Zootopia movie. It was based off Benito Mussolini. Little known fact, I know, crazy. So be sure to have a yearly evaluation for your top-tiered staff. They can easily get complacent. Well, that's why you just create other tiers, like fictional tiers that don't really do anything, and then you slowly strip away their benefits at the lower level to give them to these new tiers, right? Just because you're a bad guy doesn't mean you're a bad guy. Exactly! Zangief said that, and we can plagiarize what he said, too. Like Omni-Man, preventing the alien invasion. Exactly! See? You gotta remember this, chat. Be the evil you want to see in the world, and be willing to sometimes do good things to make evil happen in the long run, right? That's all I'm saying. As your evil overlord, the future overlord of this planet, I think we can all understand, right? It's what's in your heart that's important. That's why we rip out our enemies' hearts and consume the lifeblood to steal their power. Because it's what's inside that heart that counts. Not the blood. The tasty, tasty, tasty blood.
I'm on water tier.
Ah, he gets water. He gets water. Not just the tasty, tasty blood, but the meat. The soul meat. That's why we consume their souls. By the way, have you guys been making your soul quota lately? I need more souls. I like them. They're tasty. I do like to drink the tears of the enemies. See? And that's another thing, right? How are you going to be able to betray somebody who's your enemy if they don't trust you first? You know what I mean? You know? It's what's in my farts that are important. Well, I mean, depending on, like, what, like, do you fart out proper methane? Like, can we, like, refine that? Because we could probably, like, split some atoms in there. You can't have mine. But, well, listen, if it's already been called, I'm just gonna, like, if somebody already, like, has, like, if you've already promised your soul to, like, Jesus Christ, or the one true God, like, if you're, like, promising your heart to the one true God in heaven, like, I mean, I'm not gonna take that. I'm not gonna fight him, right? We're not fighting him, okay? But I am gonna do evil, and if it's not claimed, I'm just saying, if it's not been claimed already, if nobody else wants it, if it's just sitting there, I'm just saying, if it's just sitting there, I'm gonna take it. If there's just like a plate of souls there.
To make my tea.
If nobody else is gonna take that soul, hold on. If no one else is gonna take that soul, I'm gonna take it, right? But, like, if the sign says take one soul, I'm only going to take the one soul. Because I'm, you know, I mean, it's, like, polite, right? And it's not, like, because I'm betraying my villainy. It's because I'm waiting for later, right? Because then I'm going to use the fact that I only took one and somebody else took multiple to beat up that other guy and take the multiple that he took from him. Because then I'm only taking one, right? I'm just saying. For us, we had to protect us from, like, the evil that tried to poke us in, like, a bad way. Didn't, like, invade pieces for no reason. Well, I mean, you could invade places for no reason. There's always an opportunity to invade places for no reason. Huh? It can be fun. Sometimes invading places for no reason is the best way to find reason. I plagiarize that as well. Sometimes, you gotta do something for the love of the game. A wise philosopher once said, don't start nothing. There won't be nothing. You gonna start something, there gonna be something. If you don't want to party, then your ass gotta go. If you don't want to party, then your ass gotta go. And I think really, that philosopher, speaking to my heart, yeah. That's what the true meaning is, right? So sometimes you gotta start something for there to be something, right? Sometimes you gotta start something if you want there to be something. So sometimes you just have to go over to your neighbor and you just kick their door down and you go, hey neighbor, how's it going? Hi! I saw you locked your door. That was a mistake. I know you didn't want to leave me outside. Come on, neighbor. Why don't we hang out for a bit? You never answer my calls, neighbor. And then, you know, you hang out. And you have diet soda. Or like regular soda. I mean, like, maybe you don't want diet soda. Maybe you just want the regular soda, you know. But, like, you hang out and you have a good time. But you'll never know unless you kick that door down, right? You're never gonna know. Sometimes that door is just waiting for a good thunk. You know what I mean? And you're gonna have to go out there. You're gonna have to kick that door down. Is that what yanderes do? Maybe. Sometimes you gotta be a little bit yandere. Me, though, I'm too busy being dere. Or I guess Hime-dere, because I'm Himawari. Wait a second, do you have allies? I have plenty of allies. You kidding me? Shit. You kidding me? I got plenty of allies. I got Saucho, I got Sensoka, I heard of him from Todd in the Shadows. Speaking of Channel Awesome alumni, You're Angry Joe's having a hissy fit over the ice memes. Wasn't that like a few months ago, though? I know he was having a hissy fit, and it's always funny when you see people get way too into politics and they start just panicking. Because I'm going to let you in on a little secret. Whatever's going to happen with these politics, unless you're like getting directly on the boots on the ground and you're getting involved, you're not really going to be doing much, right? And you just like complaining online, fuck, man. That's not doing shit. You think I'm doing shit when I'm bitching about politics? Nah, man. Shit.
Just grab the leg and hold on until they want to play Mario Kart. That's how you make friends.
You know, I can agree with that. Sometimes you just gotta grab somebody's leg, shake the leg, and then... Say it! Say it! Sometimes, it's a dumb thing to be upset about. Well, dude, he didn't complain when they were doing the rainbow stuff. He didn't complain when it was the other side doing it. Why is he complaining now? I mean, shit. It's just because it's not his politics anymore. I mean, me personally, I sit there and I laugh at both of it, right? Whether you're doing left-wing shit, right-wing shit, middle-wing shit. Yeah, no, he's on the other side. That's the only reason he gives a crap. He wouldn't care if it was his stuff, right? Yeah, I mean, like, you can reach past your own politics to have fun with something. I watch stuff that disagrees with my politics all the time to mock it and laugh at it and talk about how much lesser than me they are because I'm always right and I've never had a wrong opinion in my life. I'm literally perfect. Seriously, do you guys have any idea how hard it is being as perfect as I am? You know what I mean? Trying to learn the language is easier than memorizing all the derays? I don't know. I mean, it depends on what you're going in there with. You just gotta have some mental associations, man. I still enjoy Avatar, Babylon 5, Bioshock games. Let's have, like, left-leaning biases. I'm not talking, like, the blue Smurf hippie shit. Well, I mean, even the blue Smurf hippie shit, like, there's some fun you can get out of that, right? I mean, mostly, like, I think, really, if you took all 3 of those movies that he's done... Is it 2 or 3? I think it's 3. Yeah, I think the third one just came out. If you took all 3 of those movies and you put them in the hands of a competent editor, you'd have one really good movie, right? If you gave it to the right editor, and you just gave him all of that footage, right? I'm just saying, man. You give him all the footage that already exists, you don't give him any new footage, any new dialogue, you put it in the hands of a good editor, a solid fucking editor. And this is something I will say out there, and I know the regular Joes out there working on their editing aren't gonna hear this, but if you're someone out there who's got some real editing skills, I want to challenge you to go out, grab those 3 movies, and cut them into little pieces, reorganize the scenes, and I'm telling you, there's a good movie in there. You just have to reorder shit. The good thing from those movies was Korch. Dude, Korch is so fucking good. But that's what I'm saying, right? We got enough footage now of Korch. We got enough footage of these ideas, right? We have enough footage of these concepts that you can cut it. Mute some audio, overdub a little bit. Actually, yeah, no, if you do some overdub, right? If you do some basic overdub, you have somebody who knows audio editing, video editing, who can do these little, like, shifts and whatnot, you can use these sequences you have, because you even have, like, some of the Earth stuff now. You have some of the, like, the starting scenes and whatnot. Out of 3 movies, you could make one solid, I'd say 45-minute movie out of that, right? Maybe not like a full 60-minute film, but a nice, like, 45-minute movie out of it, right? Hell, it'd be even easier to make a 30-minute movie out of it. You just cut it together, you chop it, you overdub some little bits here, you redo some of the audio, and you could make something really fucking good out of it. I'm telling you, there's some spectacle to it, there's some good visuals. You put it in the hands of somebody who knows how to do writing, knows how to do editing, give them a good team of people to overdub some of the bits. You could even reuse some of the existing lines. Give it the old shot on shitty treatment, or the zombie treatment. You guys remember the Italian film studios they used to have back in the day? These Italian film studios, they had this whole thing where they would buy a bunch of footage from like 5 or 6 different movies, and they would cut it in such a way as to make one new movie. Zombie did that all the time. Zombie, Zombie 2, Zombie 3, Zombie 4, Zombie 5, Zombie 6, Zombie 7, Zombie 8, Zombie 9. So many zombie movies. I like idol anime movies. They have like cheering shows. Oh man, that's cool. Also, Varong Unstable Violent Goth Girl. His supreme patrician choice. Godfrey Ho did that with, like, his Z-grade ninja move. Yeah, no, but the thing is, right, people mock those things. And some people forgot they even existed. But I'm going to tell you something. Legitimately, we've got enough footage out there now that if you did that kind of stuff these days, there's a lot of these terrible movies where they've got really good shots that you could make use of, especially with modern CGI and whatnot. You do some re-CG on some of that stuff. You do some minor re-CG. You get some backgrounds on there. You get some good voice acting talent on it. You do some overdubs. You can make some really good movies out of this. Like, I'm not saying you even use the same plot from Avatar, right? You can make a completely different plot using the video footage. Even AI. The thing is, I don't think AI is nearly as there as people think it's there, right? I am surprisingly, chat, I know some of you might not know this, as an evil overlord who is a cyborg and makes often use of AI, I don't actually mind. I don't mind AI. I just don't think it's there yet. I also really like using AI a bunch, specifically to use up electricity and water, because for me, it's one of those little evils I can do, right? Like, if I can know that asking 20 times to the AI, hey, what do you think about this song? Could you tell me what you think about this song as if you were a 19th century gold prospector? Hey, could you tell me about this? Oh, wait, tell me about it as if you're a World War II general. I love it. I love it. Yeah. Yeah, I'm just saying. I like using AI because it means that there's less electricity for other people. There's less RAM chips for other people. It makes me feel better. Because I already got 128 gigabytes of RAM, baby. I have that shit. I'm only using 64. But I got 128 gigabytes of GDDR5? DDR5? The DDR5? I'm just saying, man. I'm just saying. If I can make other people suffer by asking stupid questions of an AI or generating a picture of a swallow and then saying, no, that's an African swallow. Generate a European swallow. No, dude, I asked you for an African swallow. Why did you give me a European swallow? And I just make it go back and forth, regenerating the same image over and over again. If I can sit there and I can make terrible music that I enjoy, and I can know that me doing that is damaging the environment, that really helps me sleep at night, actually. Carrying like a 1-pound coconut by the husk, yeah. Yeah! That's what I'm talking about, baby! I'm just saying, man. It makes me feel better knowing that me doing that is damaging the environment. It makes me feel much better. Because it means that somebody else is having a worse time. I also really like being able to use AI when it means that somebody else who's poorer than me can't use that AI. That's why I like ticketing systems, right? Because deep down inside, it's not enough that I should have something. Somebody else shouldn't. Oh, man. Hentai. I don't really do the hentai stuff, man. Like, I mean, if that's what you enjoy, you go ahead. You enjoy your pornography. You have fun with it. Not for me. I don't really do the hentai stuff. I do read, like, the fan dojins where you got, like, the weird, like, alternate history stories and whatnot.
Klenker? Wäre Beck?
I'd say it, but I'd get in trouble. Oh, hold on. Hold on. Damn it, I moved it off the screen. Yeah, no. I'm not generating erotica. I'm not a big fan. Well, I like pinup art. That's not really erotica, is it? I guess it's like it can be erotic. I read them for the plot. Dude, I genuinely like something like the fan dojin. Non-ecchi dojin is so nice, man. How's the book going? The book is going pretty good, right? So I'm going back. And I'm working on the side story a lot. Because I've been having a lot of fun. There's a character who I created in the book who's... I created him to be a background character, right? Hold on. I saw Pikachu. Where'd you go? Pikachu. He's finally here! He's Pikachu! He's the last member of the Pika crew! He's got no style! He's got no face! But yeah, no. So I was creating a side character who basically I just had him show up in an earlier chapter so I could kill him off later, and I decided to make an entire background story about him. And I've been having fun with that side story because I'm kind of doing a Yojimbo knockoff with him and doing some like fun stuff, giving more like character development to 9L and a few of the other characters in the background, exploring the world more. I've been having a lot of fun writing that. I think it has good potential as a series of small novellas. What I'm doing right now is I'm trying to like expand out and have like little individual stories that I can use as little series, right? Because I like the idea of having complete stories. I'm doing some stuff with Reinhardt, who's a lovely character. I'm doing some little bits here and there. What's the book about? It's a alternate history sci-fi novel where I took a point in history and I decided to... Pikachu, why'd you come back? Hold on. I took a point in history and I just decided, well, what if I changed this point in history slightly and then I added some fantasy elements and then I expanded out and expanded out and expanded out and expanded out, right? And so I've got a massive timeline of events. I'm still editing the timeline. The timeline's not set in stone. The thing I've realized is I'm going to work off of I have a timeline that is... let me check how many words the timeline is real quick. Hold on. Excuse me, chat. The timeline that I have right now for the timeline of events is... Hold on. No. Stop pelting me with Pikachus. The timeline that I've got here is... There you are. It is only... If I can load it. Can I load it? So my timeline of events goes from... Oh, it's loading. It's taking a while to load the... It goes from 1752 through to 2027 right now. And it is only 250,000 words. The timeline is only 250,000 words, so... I don't always, like, follow the timeline exactly, but I like having it. I like having an overly in-depth timeline with a bunch of different, like, nations info and other bits that I can look back to, because it gives me a hardline universe. And while I'll occasionally go, no, I want to, like, move my timeline over. I want to, like, shift my timeline about. I want to get some different bits. Well, page count isn't really going to matter, dude, because that's dependent on font. That's why I gave you a word count. Man. But yeah, no. I like overwriting a timeline so I can work with it long term, and I can adjust things as I need to, but I can still have, like, a mesh framework, and I can understand...
Makes it timeline is regel.
I can understand, like, what is me changing this going to do to the rest of the timeline, right? I like writing these things. I like building these things out. I like having some basic ideas. I've got some character concepts in that I've redone and reworked a few dozen times. A lot of what I'll do is I'll sit and I'll watch a stack of different anime, and I'll just keep watching different, like... I'll have an idea for a feel for a chapter, right? And then I'll watch, like, 5 episodes of one anime, 5 episodes of another anime. I'll, like, stack up a bunch of different stuff, and I'll sit there and I'll go, I'll think about it for a few hours, I'll go to sleep, I'll wake up the next day, and then I'll write the chapter based off my vague recollection of what I'd seen in those 5, right? And I really like that as far as a strategy goes, because it's like, for example, when I started writing out this side story, it was just a knockoff of Yojimbo, right? But that's the basic framework I started with, and then I moved forward from that in order to try and get myself a better environment that did what I wanted it to do, right? It did what I wanted it to do, and so I moved forward, and I added more, and I added more, and I added more, and then I took some stuff away. And I made it less about the actual, like, action and more about the characters, and then I added more action to make it less about just the characters. And I just do these things. God spare me, I'm losing my mind over here. What's wrong, Panzer? Is everything alright? Are you complaining about the fact that we have the bouncing emoticons? No, I get you, man. I get you. It's not for everybody. Oh. Okay, well, then that's fine. But yeah, no, I've been really enjoying writing it. It's not my first light novel that I've written. It's not going to be my last one either. It's just one that I'm enjoying, right? It's a fun little invite. Oh, it's my book. Ah, okay. So, like, you're working on, like, your book and you're getting stressed out about that, too? No, I get you, man. I like to write a lot just to be able to write. There's very little of my actual work that's ever been publicized. Because it's not necessarily about getting the work out there, right? It's not necessarily about getting things into the world. It's getting them out of my head, right? Because I have these little storylines, I have these ideas. My shit's not organized. Well, you need to organize it. Why the hell aren't you organizing? Build yourself folders. Build yourself separate files. Don't put everything in one PDF. Do a hierarchy of files. Build yourself out a localized wiki.
It's about sending a message.
I wouldn't even say it's necessarily about sending a message. It's more about being able to do something. Use Microsoft Word? No. Of course not. Bump. 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 I haven't used a Microsoft product other than, like, the OS that I've butchered, which I lobotomized the OS and did some modifications to some of the code in order to make it more what I wanted it to be. Which, by the way, very much it's not happy about that. And I don't understand half the stuff I change, but you know what? It's fine. If I don't understand it, they can't understand it. I'm getting lost in the timeline. Oh, well, that's why you gotta have, like, separate... Okay, I recommend using a localized wiki. So there are programs you can use for it, like Obsidian and other bits, where you can literally build a... You know how you have Wikipedia and whatnot? There's overlays you can use to make it literally just Wikipedia. I'm gonna switch soon, too. Well, I'm still using Windows 10 for now. I'd be fine with using Linux again. I used Linux for years, right? After they switched off of Windows XP, for the entire duration of Vista, I was using Linux, and that was fine. Then I switched to Windows 7. Or was it Windows 8? Was it Windows 7 or Windows 8? Because there's the one that's the... There's the one that's the... whatchamacallit? Oh, yeah. But Obsidian's great, because you can get the spiderweb view. 8's the shit mobile one. So yeah, I used 7, and then I went back to Linux. And then I used 10. And I'm like, I'm not doing 11. I'm just going to go back to Linux again. It'll be fine. But yeah, no, Obsidian's really good. So I use... LibreOffice. Yeah, I use LibreOffice. It's open source, so I can, like, look through what's in it. I can do my own shit. It's nice. I like it. It's free. It's a good alternative. Windows 11 is locking people out of, like, Microsoft Word and whatnot without a subscription because they want you to be spending your money on their stuff. I understand, right? I understand they want to make more money. Never mind the fact that they basically used a stolen operating system to get their foundation and get their start. That's not even allegedly, by the way. They literally stole an operating system to get their start. People are sitting there saying, oh, he's so... No. They stole somebody else's operating system to get their fucking start. And that's not slander, that's not libel, that's not perjury, that's not anything. That's just historical fucking fact. It's too bad I'm stuck with Windows 11. Yeah, I'm sticking with Windows 10 as long as I can. I've got the Windows 10... What is it? It's not Ultimate. It's the business version. I've got the business version of Windows 10, so I've still got a few updates left before they stop giving me updates, right? Business stuff usually has these things. Trying to figure out where my main character family related to. Oh, so you're trying to do, like, family lineage stuff? Yeah, that stuff's interesting, too. I've got some fun stuff in mind. I'm doing some adjustments. I'm trying to decide how much magic I want in the setting. That's something I have to adjust the rest of the timeline for as I go. I've got a family subscription for it, so I'm stuck with it, mostly out of habit. I get you, man. I get you. I'm still just sticking with, like, I use open source a lot of the times. I use stuff that's, like, multi-system compatible and what have you. I think if I do switch off of Windows, I'm going to go with a Linux build that's based around Windows 95. I want to go back to Windows 95, chat. I'm going to be honest with you. If we just stuck with Windows XP and kept modernizing it, I'd be fine with it. I'd be fine with just Windows XP. There's a 64-bit version of Windows XP. If you just did security updates for that, I'd be fine with that, too. You kidding me? Shit. Man. You know, viruses these days bore me a lot. So back in the day, you used to have fun viruses, like, hey, play the entirety of Toho, or your stuff is gonna be locked until you play it. We encrypted your entire computer, play Toho! Ha 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 ha, nerd! Hey, this virus is going to scream at you. Every 3rd of the month, at 3:33 in the morning. Well, yeah, no, of course it's pain. You kidding me? It wasn't good, but at least it was creative. You know what I mean? Now it's all just, it mines Bitcoin. Hey, what's your new virus do? It mines Bitcoin. Well, what about yours? You said it was creative. It mines Bitcoin differently. Oh, wow. That's so creative. Yeah, I know. I've made $5 off of it. Oh, wow. Well, hey, Sven, what does your Bitcoin miner do? I mean, your virus do? Oh, mine doesn't mine the Bitcoin. Mine mines Doge. So it mines a shitcoin. Yes. So it's doing the exact same thing as every other virus on the market. But mine is a different one. Well, my virus hacks your speakers and randomly shouts the N-word and other slurs! My virus listens to your voice. It records you and builds a recreation of your voice while you're using the computer. And quietly, over time, it perfects itself. And when it's ready, it will shout slurs in your own voice! I mean, that'd be at least something, right? I mean, that'd be something. The stuff about Microsoft reading your documents and stealing stuff is just a rumor. No, that's literally in your TOS. You give them full legal rights to look through anything you do on Windows 11. If you're using Windows 11, they literally have, baked in, they can access anything you make on there. That's just in the terms of service. They can literally, like, spy on your stuff and steal anything they want from your computer. Because you signed the document. Well, good. Don't go to Windows 10. Don't go to Windows 11. Windows 10 is fine. Microsoft Word, though, is going to do some of the same shit, too. They're going to do the same shit. They're going to do it. They're going to do it. He's going to do it. I'm going to say the N-word. User was banned. Unless you have a time machine, there's no coming back for this content. My book has ecchi with plot. I mean, if you want to do ecchi shit, that's up to you, right? Like, the closest I get is inferred sex scenes, right? I'm not gonna, like, describe these things, like, on screen or whatnot. Or, like, I've got, like, scenes where you have scantily clad women, and I'll, like, talk about that. Or scantily clad men in at least one scene. But it's like, you know, it's not the focus of the thing. It's not like the main thing. I'm not like going out of my way going, hey! Look at these tits! No. No. I'm mostly writing fun fight sequences and trying to get creative with like ways that you can have a conflict without fight scenes as well. Because I think it's fun to have brutal, horrific fight sequences, gunslinging, sword fighting, but also have people doing battles of wits and battles of conversation. And I think the best thing about it is just being able to write it for yourself. You know what I mean? I mean, like, I realize there's too many millennials. There's too many millennials who write things for just them. Holy shit. Do you know how many people you have to deal with on a regular basis when you're dealing with any form of entertainment now who are like, those chuds in the audience don't matter. I'm writing something cool and deeper that's going to revolutionize the internet. No, you're not. Just write the slop. You're not going to revolutionize shit. You're not Tolkien. You're not even George R.R. Martin. You're nothing. Just write the slop. Write good slop. Sell it. Make it work. Like, shit, man. And just write something that sells, so you can make money to do your shit on the side. I know. Lesbian Space Princess was laughed out of the stream when the trailer hit the web. There are so many lame games. Oh my goodness. Hey, let me tell you a story. Let me tell you a 6-hour story about Neil Druckmann. I bet he'd want that story told. Hey, Chad, how do you feel about Neil Druckmann? I don't want to get sued. Actually, you know what really matters? What matters is that your product makes money, and your product is something people enjoy. Like, I would say, honestly, if everyone in the world enjoys your product enough that they're willing to throw money at it, you've made a good product. I think his wife's boyfriend paid for his vasectomy. Oh, that's great. That's crazy, ain't it? Who's Neil Druckmann? Oh, he's the guy who stole credit for The Last of Us. After throwing off the actual person who wrote the story and made the series and made everything good, and then decided to try and retcon everything she'd ever done by making a sequel to the game that he claimed he worked on. Yeah, the original game was basically all made by... Oh, fuck, I can't remember her name. Wow, I can see her face. I can see her face. I can see her face. I can't remember her name. Why can't I remember her name? Oh, shit. Oh, that's embarrassing. Amy Hennig! Hennig. Henning? Is it Henning? It's Henning, isn't it? Either way. She basically made, well, not like on her own, but she wrote Uncharted, Legacy of Kain. She did some fantastic work. Legacy of Kain was so good. But yeah, no. Amy did some wonderful work, right? Amy Hennig, fantastic writer, fantastic woman. Very wonderful. Then Neil came in and basically stole all the credit, shoved her out of the studio, shoved her out of everything else. Took credit, and then said, I'm the one who made this! I'm the man who's the studio now! Look at me! I am the captain! And then he proceeded to captain the ship directly into the fucking rocks. Yeah, if you're ever wondering, why the fuck is Last of Us 2 so different than 1? Why did they change all of the motivations? Why is there a half-hour sex scene in the TV show between two gay men? Why is there 20 minutes of gay sex in The Last of Us 2? You ever wonder that? Neil Druckmann. Because he's trying to ruin Amy's legacy. You ever wonder why they just stopped the TV series for a prolonged gay sex scene? That's why. You ever wonder why they stopped Last of Us 2 for a gay sex scene? You ever wonder why they bashed Joel's skull in with a fucking golf club? Yeah, that's Neil Druckmann trying to piss off Amy and ruin everything. Part of me is considering never getting Last of Us Part... Well, just pirate Part 1. Or, like, get a used copy so that none of the money ever goes back to Neil Druckmann. Piracy is a moral imperative in some cases. And I am suggesting you commit this act, but not in a way that gets you arrested. Wah! Don't get arrested! Wah! Don't get arrested! You're probably not gonna go to jail! This isn't legal advice! It's not legal advice! Yeah, no, if you're gonna, like, get a physical copy of it, get used. Just buy a used copy of the first part, and consider that the second part doesn't exist, right? Just consider that Part 2 doesn't exist. I mean, honestly, like, Last of Us Part 1, it's not great, but it's fun. It's fine. It's a nice little, like, walking simulator. It's fine. You know what I mean? Like, it works. It works. Speaking of, like, used copies found, like, Illusion of Gaia at the comic book shop. Oh, nice. How much were they charging for that one? 50 bucks? 100 bucks? They charge way too much for old games now. Water. 100 bucks? Yeah, not surprised. I still have my signed boxed copy of Mario 64. No, it's not signed by, like, anybody important. Guy signed his copy. It's in the box, but the guy put his own name on the box. Public domain should be like 10 years for that shit. Dude, I'm gonna be honest. I would be happy with public domain being 40 years. You know what I mean? I would be fine with public domain being like 40 years. So we can just have everything into the public domain. I think by the time you've had 40 years of something, it's fine. It's just public domain now. Fuck you. You had your 40 years. Public domain. I think Tolkien's works should all be in the public domain. I think by the time you've written something 40 years ago, it belongs in the public domain, right? I think all games, all movies, all music, 40 years, public domain. Yeah, you're gonna have some people get screwed over, but I don't give a fuck anymore. Not to mention there was like Captain America statue there, it was like $150. Well, depending on how the statue's done. Like, how big are we talking here? Like one of those 12-inch statues? Are we talking an 8-inch statue? What are we talking about with the Captain America statue? 3-inch statue? Because, I mean, like, it all depends. What kind of, like, how big's the statue? Wah, wah, wah. Big enough to hold the American flag. Ooh! Ooh, I like that. $150? Yeah. Wait, we're talking like, we're talking movie Captain America, right? We're not talking like Bucky Barnes. Or, who's the Red Wing? Who's Captain America? Who's Captain America right now in the comics? We're talking like Steve Rogers, right? But we're talking like Marvel movies Steve Rogers, right? We talking like Chris Evans? Or are we talking like classic Steve? Ah, hell yeah! I'm on board for that. $150? I'd be happier paying like $120. I'd be happier paying like $120. Wing cap. Then again, I don't really need it, so I probably wouldn't spend anything, actually. Although I do really like the Duke Nukem statue. The Duke Nukem bust is still fun. You guys, there was a place that I went to that was near Chicago, right? So I was up near Chicago, right? And they had a pallet of Duke Nukem Forever collector's editions. And I bought like 4 of them. They were $1 a piece. It was at an Ollie. It was at Ollie's. Isn't that the cheapo place? Was you taking Duke Nukem Forever? It was fine. Eh. I preferred the Y2K build. That one was fun. I think there were better builds of the game that should have been finished instead. I think the 2003 build. Actually, you know what? No, the 2003 build. I wish that one would have got finished. I've played a few of the builds now, and I think it's fine, right? I think it's fine. Yeah. Well, I don't even think it's like necessarily an engine issue on itself. I think it's the fact that at a certain point, you kind of need to accept that something's going to be dated and embrace that and make that the purpose. You know what I mean, right? Like with how long their dev cycle was. If you just kept in dev and you kept it on the same engine you started with and you just kept hammering into that to make it the best you could with what you got, you fix the bugs, you do that shit. Yeah, it's not going to make a fortune, but at least it wasn't going to be as much of a problem. Didn't need to be that long. Well, the dev cycle didn't need to. They had some issues with people wanting the latest stuff. They had some rewrites. It's like with Cyberpunk, right? Cyberpunk 2077 could have been released in 2020. It could have. Easily. It could have been released well before that as well, because the CD Projekt had the entire engine get rewritten, right? I put my lockbox on the GameStop disc, handed them my 1997 pre-order. The look on their face is priceless. Oh, hell yes. Oh, hell yes. Hell yes. How many times can you say, well, yeah, no, I pre-ordered this back in, like 20 years ago. You guys are still going to honor this, right? Should have come out in like 2003 at the latest. Well, the 2003 build, I'm gonna be honest with you, right? I wish they would have finished the 2003 build. I don't think that should have been the latest. I would have think 2004. You finish off the 2003 build, you put another year on that. You finish the 2003 build. That shit would have been good. I like the story from the 03 build. The 03 build was fantastic. Yeah, no, I don't hate Duke Nukem Forever. Believe it or not, I do not hate Duke Nukem Forever. Why am I getting sent the letter 1? I'm getting sent the number 1. Oh, okay, somebody's pressing 1 for English. I sent a bunch of voice messages. I sent a bunch of voice messages to people. I'm gonna fight 'em all. 7. They honored it. Hell yeah! Dude, that's what I'm talking about, man. GameStop. Power to the players. We like the stocks. We like the stocks. Okay, we like the stock. I don't buy Razorfist take that there was nothing wrong with the game. It's fine, right? I like the DLC a lot better than the base game. I think the DLC... I think everybody should play the DLC for that game, not necessarily the base game. Because there's that expansion that they did, that expansion DLC they did. That, if they had released the base game and it was more like the DLC, shit, Duke Nukem Forever would have sold pretty decently. It wouldn't have sold great, but it would have sold decently, right? The Doctor Who Clone Me was good. Dude, it was so fucking good. You kidding me? I couldn't remember the name for it. But I remember it being really... It was a lot better, right? Like, if they had released that, expanded out, base game, yeah, no. I'd be up for it. You kidding me? It wasn't good, but it wasn't bad. I played the expansion because it has the bulls reference. Yeah, no, but I like the expansion a lot better than the base game. I mean, shit. Expansion's fucking good, man. Remember when we used to do expansions? I'm telling you, man. If I ever actually, like, release another game, like, I work on games. I'm not gonna finish one. You kidding me? I'm not gonna sit here and play a pirate software and just go, oh, the game's coming out someday. Sorry, let me do the proper voice. Oh, the game's coming out someday, and yeah, no, it's gonna be the best game ever. No, I just work on shit in my free time, and I have fun with it, right? I have fun with it. If it ever gets done, it gets done. And if it doesn't, it doesn't. I don't care anymore. I'm retired. Shit, I'm fucking retired. I'm not even 50 yet, and I'm retired, man. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. I am retired. I am happy. I am relaxed. Sounds like George R.R. Martin. Well, what's Aragorn's tax status? Do you ever ask Tolkien what his, what Aragorn's like? What's his policy on, like his immigration policy, his tax plans? How's he gonna handle the, orcs that are left behind after the defeat of Saruman? These are important questions that he doesn't ask. They have a video on that.
What was Aragorn?
Excuse me, chat, I'm derailing everything. It's no longer a Zatsu. Hold on. This is no longer a Zatsu. This is now React Slop. Hold on. Excuse me. This is now React Slop. Fuck everything. Fuck you, Baltimore! Fuck you, Baltimore! Hey, go check out In Deep Geek, because they're the ones who did this. I'm gonna watch this, and then we're gonna see if it's actually anything interesting. Hold on. Excuse me, I'm, is this the right window? Is this the right window? Hold on. Yeah, this is the right window. Excuse me. Where is it? There we go. There we go. Let me just, Shrink that down a little bit. There we go. Now, I can safely say I'm not doing replacement content. Hold on. There we go. Wait, hold on. Excuse me. Hold on. There we go. There we go. Alright, chat. Let's watch. Let's watch this real quick. Hold on.
Aragorn's tax policy. We're told that he was a good king, but what does that actually mean? What policies did he pursue once he had absolute power? Let's take a look. Hi everyone, this is Rob.
Tell me more.
Deep Geek.
I want to know his tax policy! George R.R. Martin has told me that it's important that I know. It's imperative that I find out what his tax policy was.
In science fiction, welcome. And yes, this is...
I don't hate George R.R. Martin, but his excuse for not finishing Winds of Winter is just lame. I say this to him as a fan. Finish the damn book already. Doesn't have to be a smart ending. It has to be a decent ending. This isn't the Sargon of Akkad video. No, it's not. Although I did watch that too. We're watching this video. I want to see what his tax policy is. Chat, I've been told that I have to know his tax policy. All right? I have to know. I have to know.
It's a re-upload for various reasons. If you've seen it before, feel free to skip it.
Okay.
George R.R. Martin is well known as a huge fan of J.R.R. Tolkien. He loves Middle-earth and the Lord...
Could have fucking fooled me that he was a big fan. You could have fucking fooled me. From the way he writes, you'd think he fucking hated Tolkien.
of the Rings and rereads the books most years, but like all good friends is never slow in offering constructive feedback.
I'm not sure I believe that. What about the Mithril Tariff? A huge fan. He's not that overweight. Yeah, he's a bit chunky, but he's not that big. He's just a little bit of a chunky boy.
Here's what he said about Aragorn as king.
Okay, let me hear this.
Ruling is hard.
Yes.
This was maybe my answer to Tolkien, whom, as much as I admire him, I do quibble with.
He's sold more than you ever will, and he's a better writer than you'll ever be. But continue.
The Lord of the Rings had a very medieval philosophy, that if the king was a good man, the land would prosper. We look at real history, and it's not that simple. Tolkien can say that Aragorn became king and reigned...
Okay, Doki Boomer. You can say it's not that simple, but real history says otherwise than what you say real history is. I realize you grew up dodging the draft and having just a wonderful time. Having a wonderful time living out your life while real men fought and died for something they believed in. And it was really hard how you had to sit there and watch actual human beings do hard work. I'm sure that took a lot out of you while you were guzzling down your 30-second chili dog for the day and having it down with a nice beer. But, real men understand that real work is real hard, and good men, occasionally doing bad things, makes a good kingdom. And medieval philosophy has a lot more to hold itself up than any of your bullshit boomerism ever will.
For 100 years, and he was wise and good. But Tolkien doesn't ask the question, what was Aragorn's tax policy? Did he maintain a standing army? What did he do in times of flood and famine?
He was a good king.
These are all...
I understand. Everybody's got their own, they get different philosophy. His philosophy is very much of the era he was born. Tolkien's philosophy is very much of the era he was born. People are of the era they are of. And I am of the era of, I'm so sick and tired of this shit, let's go back. Turn back the clock.
Fair critiques. Tolkien, of course, didn't write extensively about what happened after The Lord of the Rings, so perhaps he did have a...
What do you mean he didn't? No. What do you fucking mean he didn't? I'm pretty sure he did. I'm pretty sure he did.
Sir, and just never...
Silmarillion, right?
Wrote it down. And he's obviously not now in a position to defend himself, but he did...
Well, I mean, for people like Martin, that's the only time you attack him, right? If they aren't around to defend themselves. I mean, that's why I'm willing to attack Martin right now, because he's not right here in my chat. Unless I realize that Blue Coin is secretly George R.R. Martin. What if Evan It was secretly George R.R. Martin, and he was throwing us off the trail the entire time? Wait. Maybe Sensoka was George R.R. Martin. He did defend his weight. hold on a second, it's all making sense. Wait. That's true. Hold on. I'm starting to understand things better. I see. It all makes sense now. It's possible to be a good person and a bad leader. Roosevelt was a man's man. He paved the way for Woodrow Wilson. I'm not George R. R. Martin. If I was, I'd finish the damn book. Maybe that's exactly what he would say!
A wealth of notes, essays, and other scribbles that his son...
I'm watching you, Sensoka!
...for us. So let's look at what he did tell us and see whether we can patch together an understanding of what Aragorn was like as a king. Was he actually a good king? What did he do? And, crucially, what was his tax policy?
What was his tax policy? I need to know.
Wonderful subject of governance structures.
Yeah.
When we think of a king, we often think of a ruler with unlimited powers, able to do whatever they wanted. A sort...
Is that what people think a king is? That's retarded. That's fucking retarded. Is that seriously what people think a king is? No wonder people hate the fucking Kaiser. Fucking hell, these dumbasses.
Of Henry VIII figure above the law, able to and behead people as they wish, even declaring war on a whim.
That's not...
setting up a new state religion or...
That's not what that...
This, however, is not the situation with...
That's not even what Henry VIII was. What the fuck kind of warped bullshit are people coming up with? What do people think a king is?
Aragorn in Middle-earth. His was not an absolute rulership. Aragorn, or Elisar as was his kingly name, was High King over the United Kingdoms of Gondor and Arnor. And yes, although this made him the highest power in the realm, the government structure which was established for Númenórean kings and carried on into Middle-earth meant one very important distinction that prevented him from being a dictator. He must always act under the law, Númenórean law.
So, like, almost every king? He's right that this is what people think a king is, especially Americans. Are Americans really that fucking stupid? Like, are you guys really that fucking retarded that you don't understand what a king actually is or does? I mean, I guess, like... Okay. I guess you see one documentary on the War of American Independence, and then you're an expert on kings. Nobility's got a lot more responsibility.
He did not have the power to create new law or change ancient laws. He couldn't just do whatever he wanted. He was constrained by law.
Well, he can do whatever he wants, as long as it's under the law. He can do anything he wants.
This is how Tolkien described the situation. Yeah. What you need to know is that Aragorn very much styled himself and ruled as a king of Númenórean descent. So with that in mind, this is how Tolkien described Aragorn's kingship.
Yeah.
A Númenórean king was monarch, with the power of unquestioned decision in debate. But he governed the realm with the frame of ancient law.
No, blue cities are not feudalism. That's anarcho-tyranny. Very different. So the anarcho-despotism that Americans tend to go for is far worse. So I realize that Americans love to think that they understand every single other form of government, even the ones that they've never been under and have no understanding of it. It's okay. I understand. I've been a retard too. We're all retarded sometimes. But it's important that we educate ourselves, right? I have to say, it is really, really, really funny to me, the amount of people who think you can compare what's going on in the Americas, in the blue states, the blue cities, to an actual kingship, or that you can even compare a despotism to a kingship. There's a lot of differences, and are we talking an elective monarchy? Are we talking, oh, geez, I'm trying to remember the actual English terms here. So there's where it goes to the eldest son, there's where it goes to the eldest daughter, there's where it goes to the youngest son, there's where it goes to the eldest member of the family. There's the ones where you have constitutional, where they're hard limited by the Constitution. There's the ones where it is old law. There's ones where it is common law. There is ones where you are bound by these things. You can make your new laws, and then you can remove certain laws, and if they are not removed by the next person, then they stay in. Which is, oh wait, sorry, they stole some of that shit for democracy. Oh, sorry. Hey, did you know that there's a lot of kingships where you vote for everything except the king? where every single group underneath the king provides their votes, and then they send in representatives who go up the chain, who hang out and give the king advice and give the king what he can and can't do, and he can't overwhelm them. Wait a second. Hold on. Are you telling me that a lot of these kingship designs are basically just what America already fucking has? And these jackasses are sitting there acting like they rediscovered the fucking wheel? The only difference is you don't vote for the guy at the very top who's got the same fucking restrictions as your damn president? Holy shit! Crazy! Better throw away thousands of years of human understanding. Gotta throw away everything. Somebody's feelings got hurt.
Of which he was administrator and interpreter, but not maker. So this is what we might today call a constitutional monarchy, in which Aragorn respected the constitution and didn't just do what he wanted. That's part of what he understood being a good ruler meant. And as part of this, Aragorn had an obligation to take on board the advice of the Council of Gondor, which
I want to speed this up a little bit.
Lords of the fiefs and captains.
He's taking a lot of filler. He's taking a lot of filler. Hold on.
The ruling lords who paid fealty to Minas Tirith.
Let's speed it up a little bit. Just a little bit.
Whom was the steward of Gondor, Faramir, for many years after the War of the Ring. There are others.
I didn't realize Faramir... Wait, I thought Faramir died. Which one's the one that died? Did neither of them die? It's been so long since I've actually read The Lord of the Rings. I thought... No, I'm getting it mixed up with the sequence. It's Boromir who died. Okay, so Boromir dies. Because I remember... Okay, so Faramir... Okay.
You know as well, like Imrahil, Prince of Dol Amroth. This Council of Gondor knew the power of its role. Once, back in the middle of the Third Age, they even decided on who should be king during a succession crisis. And of course, the stewards held the rulership of Gondor for many centuries in the absence of a king. In the Northern Kingdom, Arnor, which Aragorn's predecessors ruled.
Can I hear more about the tax policy and less about the history of the nation? I just want to know their taxes, dude. I want to know what my tax rate's going to be.
There was also a council. We know fewer details about this, although as Aragorn seems to have spent most of his time in the south, we can assume that they, or some other group, were in charge of day-to-day management of the kingdom there after he became king. So Númenórean kings, and Aragorn, as the inheritor of that legacy, were constrained by laws they must uphold and cannot change.
Hello, Himawari, how are you? We're doing React Slop. I've got the video tilted. It's not going to do anything, but it makes me feel better.
Aragorn also tacitly ruled by agreement of his lords, and each of those lords ruled their own lands. He just adjudicated on matters that affected everyone, or on which people couldn't agree. Take Gondor, for
Okay, so he's mostly not... Okay.
example. There were a dozen or more different fiefs or regions. The exact number changed over time, each ruled by a lord or a prince or such like, and each was largely autonomous. The ruler of each fief ruled in that land. They were responsible for justice and leadership and taxation, and Aragorn seems to have largely left them to it.
Yeah, but what was his tax policy? I want to know his! You can't just say he didn't have one. Well, I mean, I guess you could say that, because his tax policy was, I'm going to let them decide their taxes themselves.
As High King, was responsible for the reunited...
Hi, May. Hello. Hello.
Okay, so that's the structure Aragorn was working within. Ultimate ruler, but a long way short of absolute power. Suffered was the character of their ruler. The system itself completely supported this. A ruler of noble character would take wise advice and honor...
I don't need to know about the other people.
This isn't a particularly egalitarian or democratic...
Hold on.
Both granted the status of protective enclaves within the kingdom, being allowed to rule themselves without outside...
There's a lot of filler here.
We also read about Aragorn repairing...
His tax policy's fun through tariffs. Oh, okay.
The Great Gate being remade of mithril and steel, and the streets paved with white marble.
Ooh.
All in all, Aragorn's rule seems to have brought peace, stability, the rule of law, secure borders, and clear leadership. The families largely managing their own affairs. The mayor there of Mickle Delving was the chief official. There was...
Not Elder Scrolls Online. Lord of the Rings Online has some fucking models, bro.
A message service for post and
has some fucking models, bro.
Cattle, but that was
Look at that.
And in the
Holy
world,
shit.
That when we follow the
my prediction.
Rings,
oh, okay. So you haven't watched any of this.
For example, Aragorn also tacitly ruled Aragorn was working within. Ultimate ruler, but a longer...
I want...
conservative method of government.
Okay, where's the highlight? There's usually a highlight on these videos, right?
There is an institutionalized barrier against change.
You know what? I'm just going to listen to this on 2 times speed and then guess.
And powerful families stay powerful, and powerless families stay powerless. This isn't a particularly egalitarian or democratic way of ruling. But anyway, what did Aragorn actually do? What policies did he pursue?
Holy shit! Never! I won't be patient!
He forged peace with the Haradrim and spent a lot of time rooting out orc enclaves. We should note that the other part of George R. R. Martin's critique of Aragorn's rulership, other than the question of tax policy, was to question whether he killed all the orc babies. Perhaps
I forgot that was part of his question. I legitimately forgot that part of his question was if Aragorn killed the orc babies. Does Martin not know how orcs are made? You just, like, they come out of the pod, right? They're just like crap. Aren't they just corrupted elves? Am I misremembering this? I was pretty sure they're just like a corrupted elf, aren't they? They're not like their own thing. Am I wrong on that? I don't think there were orc babies. I thought they were just like corrupted, bastardized versions of the elves. Am I misremembering? I haven't read that shit in too long. I need to go back and read that again. Yeah, like the meat pod, right? I didn't think there were orc babies. Well, I mean, I know like modern Lord of the Rings says the orc babies and orcs are people too. Let them into your home. They eat flesh. Let them into your home. They eat flesh. Let them into your home. Don't be a bigot. Let the orcs in. They eat human flesh. They eat babies. No. We're not letting the White Walkers in either. The little frost guys, we're not letting them in either. I'm just saying, man, like, I think we need more elves, less orcs. I don't know, man.
Aragorn was quite ruthless in this, but I did another video on that if you're interested. To Aragorn, his military campaigns were mostly about securing peace for the people that he ruled, and he achieved that. The land was at peace, and the people prospered from it. Reassuringly, King Alisar seems to have been proactively anti-slavery, freeing the slaves that had been in Mordor and granting them land and freedom. We're told that he respected the self-determination of two culturally different parts of his kingdom, the Shire, extending its borders in the process, and the Druidan Forest, home to the Woses.
Okay, so he did a bunch of... So he freed slaves, that's good. That's good at least, right?
In the War of the Ring, they were both granted the status of protective enclaves within the kingdom, being allowed to rule themselves without outside interference.
Oh!
We also read about Aragorn repairing Minas Tirith.
So his tax policy is let them tax themselves. Fair enough.
It seems, with the Great Gate being remade of mithril and steel, and the streets paved with white marble. All in all, Aragorn's rule seems to have brought peace, stability, the rule of law, secure borders, and clear leadership. The fact that the people prospered as a result seems hardly surprising. But what about tax? Well, the big problem...
Oh, wait, hold on.
Languages, legends, and so on. He hardly ever covered economics, at least
Tax.
But do not worry, amateur economists. As we all know, public spending and private spending is about the economy, so we can definitely delve into it a bit more here.
Hold on, this is the important part.
Definitely exist as a medium of exchange.
Okay.
And trade seems to happen between cultures.
Chat, this is the important part. He's waffled on for 8 minutes. Like me, I waffle on as well. I'm waffling on right now to extend this out. I want to know about the tax code.
And peoples, albeit not on a massive scale.
Tell me the tax code.
Tax being raised and public money being spent. Tolkien's alleged indifference to the economy is perhaps there, but even he knew, subconsciously at least, that a fully realized world needed at least a partly realized economy. Simply put, Aragorn needed money to pay for his soldiers and to buy all that white marble for the pavements of Minas Tirith.
Okay.
Outside that, though...
Hima has the patience of a zoomer. No, Hima's trying to run a live stream where Hima's trying to be entertaining, and half of my entertainment style is a constant commentary, and I also have to be pausing it in order to not get struck for copyright to make things transformative content. It's not a matter of my patience. If I was watching this on my own, yes, I would slow down and let him do everything and do these things. If we're doing it on a stream, I'm wanting to hit the point of the thing that I want to see, because I can make more interesting commentary about it. Legitimately, the main issue I've got here is there's a lot of this that I can't really say much about, so I'm kind of just like sitting back here like, oh, And to me personally, that's not fun.
It has to be said that Aragorn's need for tax revenue actually seems quite limited. Outside of the capital...
Yeah, no, that's why I don't want the filler, right?
Works projects, road building, expansion of education or public health care. And even Gondor's army is probably not all for Aragorn to pay for. Minister...
I get that you don't want this to be a 2-minute video. I get that. I also get why he's doing the context there. The context is actually kind of nice. But man, He's like, we're finally getting around to the purpose of what you're here for. Now let me waffle more.
Tirith has a garrison of a few thousand, but the bulk of Gondor's forces are from the fiefs, the regions of Gondor.
Okay.
The system seems to be that they answer the call to arms when their king requires it, to go root out a few more orcs, say.
I mean, honestly, if you're handling it that way, that's the way a lot of kingdoms did it. Where you could pay tax in gold or in men. And it's literally just, hey, so, if the kingdom needs defending, we're going to summon your soldiers. Otherwise, we don't really need to do much. That's kind of how America worked as well, for the longest time.
It's a bit like the Lord of Winterfell in The Song of Ice and Fire calling the Northern Banners. Aragorn may pay for them while on campaign, but the general upkeep of a Gondor-wide army was not his concern. So governing at a local level was done locally by the fief lords, and most of the army was not Aragorn's to support either. And he also didn't seem to be doing much by way of large public investment projects, once his immediate post-war repair and restoration projects were complete.
I mean, it's going to make the kingdom a lot cheaper to run in the long term, right? I mean, let's be honest. Yeah. I mean, hey, I'm going to sit here and I'm just going to say, like, if you let your sub-kingdoms run a lot more stuff and you do less top-level management, you're going to have better off. Again, it's similar to how a lot of kingdoms work, where you have the individual little areas that run their own stuff and keep their stuff stable, and you take the barest minimum in order to keep things working.
In reality, his only main ongoing expense seems to have been the upkeep of Minas Tirith, his seat of power, and the cost of his sporadic military campaigns.
Yeah.
In modern parlance, we might say that Aragorn operated a small government with a rather federalist approach, allowing the fiefs to largely run themselves.
Good old federalism, boys.
Expected in Middle-earth, Tolkien specifically tells us in the prologue to The Lord of the Rings that the Shire had little in the way of government, with families largely managing their own affairs. The mayor there of Mickle Delving was the chief official.
Oh, that's what this is.
Service for post and a dozen sheriffs to keep
Yeah.
order and round up loose cattle, but that was pretty much it.
I mean, you don't...
And in the wider...
Legitimately, for most of human history, you don't need much more. The reason why, like, kingship works is because it doesn't need a lot of other shit. What, you send these guys around to do maybe some, like, bandit cleaning up? People mostly tend to themselves. People get this idea that, like, a king is just this all-oppressive, all-knowing everything who's gonna be in every single aspect of your life, and somehow you're not gonna have any fucking freedom, right? I'm just saying, right? Like, that's not really what it is. If you have a proper king, he's gonna be handling shit with an even hand that you're not going to feel the sting of very often. It's not this, like, weird, I'm going to have every facet of everything. I'd go so far as to say a lot of this, like, modern political stuff is a lot more invasive than a king ever was, right? Democracy tends to be a lot more invasive, because you have a bunch of people who are doing the same thing, but they're hiding it behind businesses, they're hiding it behind anything and everything else. Yeah. The basic fact that humans are a hierarchical society, well, I mean, you need humans to be able to have some sort of a structure, sure, and you need to have enough freedom that you can live your life and enough reigning and corralling that you're not going fucking crazy and burning yourselves on fire, you know? Like, here's one of the big problems, right? You don't trash your lawn for the other. See, here's the problem. Right? I'm not trashing your lawn. I'm sitting here saying the lawn itself has been taken over by weevils, and there's a bunch of people sitting there saying, well, the weevils, we can't do anything about the weevils, there's always going to be weevils, instead of getting rid of the fucking weevils. Why do you have the weevils tearing up your fucking lawn? Get rid of the weevils and run your lawn as an actual lawn. Any system is only as good as its results.
World, it's no
and right now, the results are pretty good.
The stories of The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings, there may be occasional references to officialdom or money counters, Dale and Lake Town appear to be the biggest offenders in that way. There is little in the way of infrastructure for levying taxes, toll bridges, or customs officials, or
Yeah,
anything
but
like that.
if you don't need them.
The occasional mention that you might think of, but our heroes travelled extensively across the land without really having to open their purses for officialdom.
I'm a master and commander that always chooses the lesser of two weevils. You've got inside of you there are two weevils! Choose the lesser! Choose the lesser weevil!
Of generally medieval-style agrarian or sometimes feudal societies, local and self-sufficient, and without a state religion demanding tithes. Direct taxation is not a big thing here. Aragorn did need to collect an income as king, but a lot of this will have come directly from income from ministers.
Aragorn with, like, grey beard is kind of cool look.
From individuals across the kingdom. They will be more likely to pay their dues to their local lords, who will in turn pass on some to their king. In addition to which, we do have to take account of the seismic changes that happened in Middle-earth during Aragorn's reign. The elves...
What is this? It's a video talking about Aragorn's this is a video talking about Aragorn's tax policy. We're finding out his tax policy. And so far I've found out... Not much. I mean, like, I found out some cool stuff about the world. We basically found out he kind of just doesn't really need to tax that much because it'll handle itself, you know? You know that most of the world outside of the United States also let you have machine guns and whatnot up until the 1990s, right? Well, I mean, 1980s is when a lot of that stuff started to kind of fall apart, but like even Germany itself let you have machine guns for a long period of time. The problem is the United States has kept their rights for longer because of the actual codification of shall not be infringed, but you still have the infringement in the 1930s with the tax stamp, which is a violation of the United States law. You have the later bans on machine guns, which again, unconstitutional. The one good thing I will say about a lot of that stuff is the actual like base layer on it. The foundation's good, and if you just enforce the laws that are there, yeah.
Their treasures behind. Aragorn marrying Arwen was not just a wonderful love story. He was marrying...
That's right, because if he marries the elves, he'll get the elven money, right? Well, I mean, it'll go away in time. The thing is, the people who are going for that stuff will go away in time, too. Yeah. Hey! I'm not here for real politics. I'm here for funny fantasy politics.
Into riches, the daughter of Elrond and Rivendell.
Yes. Elven money!
Often indistinguishable from their kingdoms. Yes. So although we don't have a definitive answer from Tolkien himself as to what Aragorn's tax policy was, it seems very likely that he operated a small state, low-tax system, funded from personal inheritance.
He can have her.
Some
I'll take
farmers,
Freeran.
income
Freeran's
from his
cool.
lands around Minas
Freeran's cool.
Tirith and his fief lords. Very few people will have paid him tax direct.
Yeah.
It would be incorrect to try to describe the Middle-earth economy in modern terms, because it seems to have operated very differently. But broadly speaking, Aragorn's domestic policy was one of conservative, with a small c, laissez-faire localism, keeping a
laissez-faire.
place, but freeing
Delightful.
individuals from much of the direct costs of running
Yeah.
a state. Prosperity was delivered not by central government programs, but by securing stability and peace, when needed by war, at which point further taxes...
I mean, yeah, no, that's how humanity worked for many years. There's this whole pretense that we've discovered the secret sauce, and it's like, nah. We got some good governments, right? We got some good stuff going on. I think it's less of a problem of what type of government you have and more who you've got in the government position. If you don't have good people, you're not going to have good leadership.
may have been required, though we don't know, and whenever possible, by maintaining strong friendships with neighbours. The land prospered, we are told. Whether that happened because of or despite of his policies, and whether that makes him a wise leader or not, is a matter for personal judgment. Tolkien's view was that Aragorn was a wise ruler. Therefore, the land prospered, and that works for me.
Well, hey, now I know his tax policy. There was a lot of waffling, but I genuinely do like that video. I wish it was easier for me to be entertaining with that stuff. But at the end of the day, I do think that was nice. That was quite lovely. What? How are you still visual capturing? Hold on. There we go. All right. So what did we learn about Aragorn's tax policy? All right, let's summarize the video here. So, what I've learned about his tax policy, if I paid attention, he taxed the barest minimum, or he operated a small military and mostly let them policy themselves. So his tax policy was let them tax their stuff, and then I'm going to tax them by taking their soldiers or money later where it's needed, and we'll have almost no public works projects. It doesn't sound bad. I mean, if the government's got enough to work, it's got enough to work. And he's not really going to need a lot of money because he got himself that elfin money. Give me them elf money. I want some elf money. Money, 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 money. Money, money. Money, 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 money. Money. So, Blue, I realize you wanted to make everything in that about America. I don't give a fuck about America. I give a fuck about entertainment. I'm evil. Nah, I do care about America. I just don't really care about American politics right now. My eye is watching you specifically. 'Cause you're towing a very thin line, buddy. Anyway, as I was saying, no, I genuinely do think that's a good route to go down, the analysis of, like, figuring out bits of a storyline or a universe that people don't necessarily think about on the surface level can be a really good way to get yourself, well, just analyzing a setting. The idea of taking out whatever you're seeing on that upper level, extrapolate, right? Right? I like that. I like the idea of, even if the original writer didn't think about something, take a look at what they've actually done, what they've shown of the character, what their intentions are. I think that that can be fun. Because if you see, character A is stated to have X, Y, and Z opinions about A, B, and C, right? And you can figure out what he does in the actual work, what his choices are in the moment. You can kind of use that as a way to move forward and build yourself to a better spot. Part of the reason I wanted to listen to that at all was to get some ideas flowing in my head for my own work there. Because, like, when I'm working on... I've been working on that mech book for a while, right? And when I'm working on that, I will sit and I will go, logistics. But it's not for the story itself. It's for building an environment that I can make the story. Because I'll have, like, stuff of, how do they get their water? How do they get their fuel? What is the expenditure? What kind of ideas they have here? Like, in my setting, I've got, like, they harvest peanuts, right? Because they use turbine-style engines. And so turbine-style engines can run on almost anything that can combust, and you can combust peanut oil fairly reliably, and you can grow peanuts in very little light. So it makes sense that if you're on a planet that is around a red sun, you'd be harvesting peanuts, because they grow low, they grow good, you'll get a lot of oil out of them, and yet the setting also has these cores that provide seemingly limitless power, but even they have drawbacks, right? And I figure out what the drawbacks mean, because, like, when you have one of those cores, it'll always produce X amount of energy, right? A core produces X amount of energy and cools an environment Y amount, right? Would you consider the Lord of the Rings orcs to be the elven equivalent of zombies? Yes. Actually, unironically, yeah. No, I would. I would consider them to be. And I don't think that's a problem, right? I think that's kind of cool. Because they're not, like, mindless. They're still killers. They're hungry. They're angry. They're killers. They're brutal. They're evil. But they're not, like, stupid. Because I think, like, zombies have kind of become boring, right? I always like the idea of like, in general, when it comes to zombies, when it comes to, like, any of the entertainment, I like to be able to have deeper understandings on things. Soul cores would make computers extra efficient. Yeah, no. But it's like, I take that into consideration when I'm writing this, right? But are you going to use a soul core for your car? I mean, maybe. But you'd be more likely to use it to fuel to charge the battery in your car, and then plug it in at home. Or like in the case that I've got, I have turbine electric engines, right? Where you have a battery, right? And the battery stores some of the power. And then you have a turbine engine that provides more power. Exactly. And like you don't, because of how the cores take away heat, you don't want to have too many of those cores anyway. So you're not going to put cores in the car, right? You're going to use cores to charge the battery. And you're going to use the turbine to power the car. And the battery to power the car. And then you'll be able to, like, you can charge it for free once you get home. I use the idea of, like, people will have their own cores in their house. You don't really have a power grid, right? It's not like a wide connection. You'll have, guy has a core in the back of his house that gives his house X amount of power. If he needs more, he'll go to the store and he'll get another one, maybe, right? I like that, right? I like that. I genuinely do. Have we not... hold on, Blue. Have we not already had an Urukai in, like, one of the Mortal Kombat... Wait, Flaming! You know this stuff! Flaming here is one of the biggest fans of Mortal Kombat I've met in a long time, and he's really good at that stuff. Flaming, was that... Did they ever have an Urukai in Mortal Kombat? Or was that Soul Calibur? Was it Soul Calibur that does all the crossovers and whatnot? I'd have to talk to Crunky, because he knows the fighting games more outside of Mortal Kombat. I know Crunky knows, like, some of the fighting game stuff. He knows, like, Dead or Alive. I'd have to ask. They both have the crossovers. Is Mortal Kombat's crossovers more recent, though? Because I know Mortal Kombat was doing stuff like... Up to a point, yes, let's see. They didn't have, like, an orc or anything styled after an orc. Okay. But they did have... They had the forearm guy, right? They had the forearm guy. But he wasn't styled after an orc. And then they had the forearm girl. But they didn't have... Okay. Mortal Kombat has Xenomorphs now. Well, they also have RoboCop and Terminator and... Low Pan Superman, every single Power Ranger. And Cowboy Curtis, Theodore Logan, Doc the Rock, Doc Ock, and Hulk Hogan. They got a few people. Warner Bros. Owns NetherRealms. The Titans are related to those IPs. Oh, okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. So... But yeah, no, when I'm working on my setting, right? Like, I'm doing a lot of logistics stuff. I actually have an understanding of the tax code, right? But it's not for the sake of using it or having a character file his taxes, right? It's, how does this reasonably, roughly work? So I know what the hard limitations are. Like, there is a settlement in the side story, Ronin of Ainsmaket. I can never pronounce my own names for these things. But in my little side story that I did with, got the, like, Yojimbo stuff, they've got a big marble palace, right? Well, it looks like marble. It's not proper marble. It's made to look ostentatious. They've got a bunch of, like, gold. They got a bunch of other stuff on there. But all of that is made to look impressive without being impressive. And I've got the logistics for where they're getting the actual, like, stone for to make the place. A lot of it's concrete, styled up to look fancier. But from the perspective of your character, you're just going to see this really fancy building, right? Like, they've got a gold statue. And the gold statue is supposed to be a distraction from the missile silo underneath the statue. It's not a solid gold, but it looks it, and people believe it. It's plated. It's plated stone. But you figure these things out. And by figuring these things out, it's like, well, no, they wouldn't be able to afford to do X, Y, and Z. If you're doing this, you're not going to afford this. What are their personal policies there? The Soviet Union inside my setting is focused on the idea of the appearance of power to match with the enemy nation. The enemy of the Soviet Union in that book is... Well, because the Soviet Union is a union of countries rather than a single country, right? The Unified Soviet Socialist Republics, or whatever the heck it was. Yeah, it's USSR. Because it's CCCP for the Russian version of it. But it's USSR for the Unified. So it's not like a unified bloc, but overall they try to have the appearance of the other countries, right? And I had to look through the logistics on, like, how do they get food? Because they've got their cores, what are their, like, focuses there? Their policy tends to be more towards throw away the human. So they use drone tech, right? But in the setting, the drone tech is like human brains. You take a brain and you put it inside your robot, and it'll always be piloting the robot. Whereas the Empire does their whole, hey, we're going to make our robots look more like people. The Soviet Union went, what if we just made our people into the robots, because the robot spider body or crab body is going to be more efficient. Unless Warner Brothers collapses, I'll never get Mortal Kombat vs. Capcom. Like the Mortal Kombat fans have won in the first... Oh, Mortal Kombat vs. Capcom would be so good. Are you kidding me? Mortal Kombat vs. Capcom would be so good. Oh, man. Capcom's got so many good properties in the back catalog. I would play the shit out of Mortal Kombat vs. Capcom. I want, like, classic Mortal Kombat, though. Not this, like, the ultra-violence has to have style, right? And I feel like, personally speaking here, they're too much on the violence and not enough on the style of the violence. Does that make sense? Like, chat, I like the idea of having the fatalities and having them be brutal, but I want them to be stylistically brutal, not just uncomfortable. You know what I mean? That was shit kind of flash fights, probably still on Newgrounds. Hell yeah. But like, because I don't like a lot of the newer Mortal Kombat, like at all, because yeah, it's gory, but it's not fun gore. You know what I mean? There's a difference. It's a difference between, like, Evil Dead, right? Over the top. Versus Evil Dead 2. Or, like, versus one of the A23 films, right? I don't want, like, just gore for the sake of the gore, right? You know what I mean? I like it, but then again, I have a sick sense of humor. Well, you can understand, though, where I'm coming from, right? MK1 had most of the fatalities kind of the same in a Super World 2. Yeah, it's not good. It's not good. Like, I don't know. You can call me a pussy for not liking just pointless gore. If I've got gore, I want it to be, like, actually stylized. I want it to be interesting, right? Not cartoony, stylized. You know what I mean? I want it to be... I guess dramatic would be a way for it. Because cartoony... I can handle over the top. But, like, at the end of the day, I don't want to just see... Like, okay, let me put it this way, right? I was never a fan of the way, like, Brutal Doom just did hyper-realistic. We're researching actual bodies to see how actual people violently explode, and then we're gonna recreate that in a sprite. Where you had the one dev who was literally just going through Live Leak to figure out how to make his sprites. I don't want that shit, right? Mortal Kombat MK1's not a reboot either, but newcomers think so. Oh, that's fucking weird. That's fucking weird. I wonder if it started as a reboot, and then it just wasn't a reboot. But yeah, no, I'm not even necessarily talking about cartoony, right? I'm talking about, like, purposeful gore in a way that actually has a bit of... It has a fun impact. I don't know. I've never been great at talking, chat. You guys know I don't know the first thing about communications. I'm just some silly little guy saying silly little things. You know, like Uwe Boll-style blood, where there's, like, spraying blood everywhere? I don't think you know what? I think I'd be fine with that. I think I would be. You know what? If you had the seriousness mixed with it, right? Because I kind of like the juxtaposition almost of that. I think that'd be fun for a time. Have an ocean of the over-the-top stuff. Yeah, no, I could see that. I could see that being fun. Or have different characters have a different style. You need to play 11 to understand 12. That's weird. Okay. You know, actually, hear me out. Well, yeah, no. Having, like, way too much blood, that can be fun, right? Where it's like, holy shit, why is there so much? Oh, why? That stuff could be fun. That stuff can be fun. And honestly, like, I wouldn't even necessarily mind if we had, like, this character's fatalities are hyper, like, reserved. Hyper this, that, the other, because it fits his character. This character's super cartoony. This character, you know what I mean? Where you got the variety between the people. Where the styles of how they do it is more based on who's doing the fatality. rather than, like, a sense of direct realism or anything. There's also, like, there's only so many times I can see a human skull just violently explode. I get enough of that shit in real life. I don't need it in a video game, too. Like, I'm a bit of a pussy when it comes to my entertainment, right? I didn't like the whole, like... You guys know that, Westworld, the TV series? I couldn't fucking watch that, right? I enjoy Brutal Doom just because it's over the top and has reloading. They did that well enough. I mean, Brutal Doom's fine. I was using it as an example, right? I'm not necessarily a fan of some of the style of it, but it's kind of interesting, you know? We kind of have that. Cage has a fatality where you use an enemy's corpse to do like a ventriloquist routine. Yeah. But yeah, no. I've often been called like a pussy or a pansy for it, but I don't really like go for the hypergore. Then again, believe it or not, I also don't tend to go for like needless cruelty in games. I save my needless cruelty for real life, thank you. Like, I'll be needlessly cruel in real life. I don't need to be in a video game. I'm a villain already. Why can't I be a little bit heroic in a game? Oh, man. Chat, so I was watching the other day. We're not going to go... I'm not going to sit down and have you guys watch the video, right? So, I've been checking out a lot of videos on games that, I personally had an opinion on, and everyone else told me my opinion was wrong, and I did some more research into them, and I'm like, yes, finally, people who agree with my opinions. Give me a moment here. So, I like Silent Hill 2. We're probably going to play through it again. We've played through it twice on the channel, chat. I might make a third time playing through Silent Hill 2. Maybe even a fourth time. I like Silent Hill 2. I had someone just absolutely tear into me for being a fun-hating bastard. For saying that the Silent Hill 2 remake was going to be shit, right? Man. I love seeing all the videos now. I predicted. I'm like, okay. So they're going to fuck up. They're going to add way too much combat. They're going to ruin the sound design. They're going to ruin the level design. They're going to censor the story. They're going to change these characters. It's going to be mediocre. And we're going to forget it exists in 2 months. And you know what happened? Everybody and their brother. Everybody was sitting there saying, you hate fun, Hima. You hate fun, Hima. You hate fun, Hima. Guess who was fucking right? Guess who was right, you piece of shit? None of those fuckers who gave me so much trouble, who threw me out of groups or anything else over that, none of them fucking remember Silent Hill 2, the remake. Oh, they made the girls look like potatoes and men? Yeah, I told you that was going to happen. Oh, they brought back the original composer, but they had his music either way too quiet or not there at all. Oh, they took out all the sexualization with Pyramid Head. Oh, they took out all the times that James Sunderland did any of the things that told you he might not be a good person. He doesn't look at people's asses anymore. They simplify the costumes. They remove the sexuality from a lot of stuff. Oh, we've got none of the actual, like, joy of a lot of the sequences because we've replaced them with cutscenes or moved them to first person. Hey, they got rid of the nurse enemies and every other enemy except for the crawlies. Wow. You've only got mannequins for an entire game. Huh. Almost like I warned people about that. And I'm still gonna hold it over them. Because I was right, they were wrong. And it makes me feel better inside. Let me see here. Eventually optimizations will come back when we hit another wall with GPU and CPU power. I don't know that they will. They're kind of just... I think they're just going to keep making stuff bigger and not optimize until they can absolutely no longer help it. You know what I mean? Kind of the problem I had with, like, Magic Girl shows, where they were either, like, too campy, too grimdark. There's really, like, a good middle ground. Well, with anime, you gotta have a good middle ground. Although, grimdark can be fun, right? Grimdark can be fun. You can have some good grimdark. It's how you approach it, though. Don't look up Return to Silent Hill. It's as bad as you think it is. That's not the Half-Life one, right? That's not the... Which one's the Half-Life one? They had that Half-Life Silent Hill where they were trying to make it, like, entirely puzzles and none of the combat. And you're going through a first-person exploration of, like, the hotel. The movie adaptation of Silent Hill 2. I don't remember hating the movie adaptation of Silent Hill 1. I remember thinking, I remember watching the live-action Silent Hill movie and just being like, I mean, it's got some decent graphics at the time. And it's like, the story's not really what I was thinking it would be for Silent Hill, but okay, let's throw in some random new characters. I felt about the same that I felt about the Resident Evil movies, which were basically just, hey, my wife is hot. Look at my wife in these movies. My wife is hot. It was like a psyop to make the remake forgivable. It was a good effort. Oh. Oh. That's weird. That's weird. That's weird. Yeah, no. I'm gonna be honest with you, chat. I feel like we don't really need remakes anymore. Emulation has gotten really good. I think we need to decriminalize emulation. I think maybe, like, doing ports, maybe? There were the bobblehead nurse enemies in the remake? The Silent Hill 2 one? The Silent Hill 2 remake? You sure about that? I know they had the boss enemies. Are you sure? Because I watched a playthrough of it, and I didn't see them. I saw they did a redo on... I saw that they moved from the bowling alley, the scene with Eddie. They like, when I was seeing this, right? They had the mannequins. I saw that they had the bowling alley scene with Eddie. They moved it over to the theater. I saw they added a spider boss fight for some fucking reason into the final boss. And they also had the ceiling hangers. Had a spider fight for some reason. I saw that they did... They changed some of the boss fights. They were fine. They did Eddie bad. They fucking ruined Eddie. Fucking hell, the delivery. I saw the voice actor was pretty bad, too. Yeah, no, I don't remember seeing the nurses. Because, yeah, no, I watched a playthrough of it, because I'm like, I'll finally check this out. I'll watch it. Huh. Did I really just blank out the nurses, then? Huh. Hey! Did you know sometimes I'm wrong? I'll never admit it, but sometimes I'm wrong. I will never admit it, though. I will never admit it. But yeah, what I do remember is mannequin. Mannequin again. Mannequin again. Mannequin again. Mannequin again. Mannequin again. I also remember that they went from having the music way too loud to having it way too quiet to having it way too loud. Their audio ducking was bad. Their audio balance was just not great. I was surprised, though. The graphical fidelity is pretty good. The actual gameplay itself looked decent enough. It's a shit Silent Hill 2, but it seems like another one of those, this is dog shit at being the thing that it's supposed to be, but we've made a nice little Last of Us style game, which I never thought that Silent Hill 2 should be Last of Us, right? It really reminded me of The Last of Us in the style of just how they had the camera position, how the actual, like, combat was feeling in that. Again, you're not gonna know that from just watching it. But from watching it, I could get a rough feel, and the rough feel I got was, this is generic, but it's okay, right? I think it'll be fine. I don't know. Either way, will say, fuck remakes. I don't like remakes. Tragic Tale of Silent Hill 2's code. Konami didn't bother keeping it. Too much work for them to track down a copy of their own game and reverse engineer it. Why don't they just use the PC version? Why don't they just use the PC version? You could just use the PC version. The community... There's a Gunther crawling around in my ceiling. There's a Gunther crawling around in my ceiling. I hear you! Get out of the ceiling! I hear you. I even see him. They're... Because Konami's Konami. Yeah. I mean, it's kind of like... Although it would be funny if we had another repeat of Rainbow Six Vegas, where they had to pirate a copy to crack their own DRM to get the game to work. That was funny. That was funny. And then they left the code in there. Yeah. Well, chat, you know, this was nice. Just a nice little, like, 2.5 hour hangout or so. We watched a movie. Video for a bit of it. That was fun. Yeah. You know, I could get used to doing these little ones. Like, just these little tiny streams where we just hang out for a few hours and chat. I mean, we might have to do those for a while. I don't think we'd have to do them for, like, super duper long. But I do like hanging out and talking with you folks. Genuinely, from the bottom of my heart. I appreciate every single one of you. I really do. And I'm fine talking to you guys. We can hang out. We can chat. We can have a good time. Oh, what is this? Hold on. Granvir got a new update. That's kind of cool. Oh my gosh! Chat! Chat! Hold on. Chat! I have news from the front. Chat. So, Pipkin Pippa, streamer extraordinaire, bought quail eggs and was trying to hatch them. There is now a quail. One of them is actually hatched. Look at that cute little fella! Oh, look at you! Oh, that's amazing! Oh, look! He's a cute little bird. Who's the cutest little bird? Who's the cutest little bird? Oh. I'm gonna be honest, it's always so lovely. So lovely. Is that Dragon Quest V? Little Dragon Quest V hatched, hell yeah. What? Oh, I forgot the naming that they did for him. Yeah. Oh, that's cute. That's so cute. I thought it was a chick. But I don't know what a quail looks like. Yeah, it's a baby quail. It's a baby quail. That's what a baby quail looks like. It's a baby quail. Makes me happy. I like quail. They'll make me happy. They'll make me smile in general. Yeah, no. I'm gonna be honest with you, chat. I do think that we've entered into an era where there's a lot of entertainment that has just kind of fallen by the wayside, really. It's been kind of rough. There are a group of people who have just, for some reason, decided to wake up and choose violence. Now, I don't have a problem with people waking up and choosing violence per se, right? I do it all the time. I love a good bit of violence. Violence makes me happy. But it doesn't make me happy when they do it in such an inefficient way. They're sitting over here trying to ruin people's hobbies when they should be trying to ruin people's lives. I don't think that's such a bad thing, right? Sometimes you just gotta be evil, right? Mm-hmm. You know it. I know it. We all know it. Evil is good. But I do think that we are kind of reaching the limit So for a lot of these people, like, you may not understand this, and I didn't understand it at first either, but there are a group of people who believe that they will be able to get infinite money if they just ruin things for other people. And there are a group of people who have access to a fuck ton of money who are basically actively trying to ruin entertainment for the sake of just doing it. It's fucking weird, man. We got these people who go into industries, right? And they will spend trillions of dollars of other people's money to ruin the industry by forcing themselves into positions of power. I was sitting there, one of my buddies, he's on a, how do I phrase this in a way that doesn't get him in trouble? So he's on this board of directors, right? He's on this board meeting. Words, verbiage. He's on this board meeting, right? And these guys show up. All of the investors are there. Everybody's here. They're talking about what they're going to do. And they're discussing whether they should sell out to a new company, right? The actual investors all say no. Every single one of the investors that shows up says no. No, 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 no. But this one guy, who's a representative of fucking BlackRock, shows up and goes, well, unfortunately, we own too much of the stocks, so we say yes. And one of the investors, who got his money in blood diamonds in South Africa, he's been mining those diamonds, stands up, puts his hand on his gun, and says, hell no. Keep me off him. I'm about to kill this motherfucker. In the middle of a damn board meeting. Because he's just so tired of that shit. And it's like, are we about to hit the point where things kind of just happen all at once? Because if we've got an actual high-level investor who is about to just shoot some BlackRock guy in the head in the middle of an investment meeting, I don't think we're in a good spot. Because people are going to just, they're on the edge of snapping, right? And this is a guy who's got a lot of money, right? We're talking, not like multi-billionaire, but we're talking billionaire, right? We're not talking like guy who has $10 billion. We're talking like 2, 3, 4, you know, low-level billionaire. And if that guy's willing to pull a fucking gun in an investment meeting, that's not saying good things, is it? I don't think that's a good sign. I don't know. Maybe I'm a little bit crazy. You might think I'm foolish. I don't know, though. I'm going to be honest with you. It frustrates me a bit. It's for politics, plus banks will give, like, zero-interest loans to push politics. Well, yeah. Well, it's also the investment firms, right? Because there's a lot of investment firms that your company will give your money to that firm as long as the firm makes money. And the firm basically runs a pyramid scheme. There's a lot of firms that just run their pyramid scheme. I am impressed, right? As a villain, right? As a young, upstanding villain with slightly graying hair, very slightly graying. Don't pay too much attention to it. It's just a little bit gray. I'm okay. I'm not a young villain anymore. I'm sorry. I'm not a young villain. I'm getting old. It sucks. But as a villain, I'm impressed. I really am. The way that they are able to just reach out and steal money from little old ladies and collapse gaming economies and basically just spitefully ruin entire industries, not for the sake of making any financial impact, but just to prove that you can. That stuff, to me, is genuinely really impressive, right? That stuff, that just drives me wild. You know that? Because there are people, genuine people, who are spending billions of dollars they don't have, giving out hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of loans, specifically to ruin these industries. And in a lot of cases, it's not even to get the politics in, it's to kill the thing off that makes them money. Like, I'm impressed. I was also impressed, like, how they would buy out farmland and just leave it fallow. Or buy houses to leave them empty. And then people would be squatting inside the houses. And they would abuse their connections in order to make it so that they could get people, you know, who were squatting out. Well, we had that guy who... Oh, the guy who owned the solar panel land. Who the government, like, came in and is like, you're going to sell. And then wound up doing, like, a 30-month standoff with the police. That stuff's wild. We have like a potential civil war going on here. I already have a cold civil war going on. Yeah, kind of. Yeah, kind of. Politics is part of that in the sense that if the woke people win, they'll be easier to control. Yeah, I can see that that's one of the focuses, right? I can see that's like an idea. But I don't think it's not as much. Like, okay, so like there's the whole thing where we have a group of people who are really pissed off about Gamergate still. I know, Gamergate, what's that? Most people don't even fucking know anymore. I'm gonna level with you. Most people don't know what the fuck Gamergate is. Most people don't know what the hell a Gamergate is. What's one of them Gamergates? What's that? That one of them like YouTubes? But there's people who genuinely were so scared by that they actively try to get into companies and spend billions of dollars for investment firms just to destabilize shit. I've talked with some people who it's like, you are wasting your entire family's inheritance. You are wasting all of this money because someone made you feel stupid 10 years ago. 20 fucking years, 10 years ago, 15 years ago? Really? They patched stuff out of Terraria yesterday. It was over 15-year-old Gamergate Me Too stuff. Holy fuck. Really? But like, there are people who are actively squandering their family's inheritance over this shit. Where they are dumping millions and millions of dollars into things that they know won't make money. Not to like, invest, not even. Like, the sad thing, like, okay, I don't even necessarily mind the people who are doing it for political reasons. Okay, you're doing real politics, you're doing maneuvering, you want to destabilize American hegemony so you can have your Chinese games sell instead. Or your Middle Eastern games sell instead, or whatever. Okay, fine, I can respect that. I don't like it, I don't want you to do it, but as a villain myself, I can respect that, right? I really can. I don't necessarily have to agree with it, but game respects game, right? The problem I've got is the trust fund kids who use their moms and dad's money not even to conquer. Really, guys? I'm disappointed. You're spending hundreds of millions of dollars on what? To make some guys who like Ghostbusters cry? To get rid of Halo? Really? Really? You're wasting dad's money on making somebody cry. Or making a product that's not gonna make money to collapse a studio. It's to be a douche? Well, okay. It hurts when somebody mocks you, right? It hurts when somebody shows off that you don't have the power. It does. It hurts. As a villain, I can understand, right? Deep down from the bottom of my heart. My heart goes out to you. If you guys are out there and you are like the mega wealthy type who really just feels like you've been slighted, I understand. I feel your pain. You and me. You and me. We're on the level here. We get it, right? Sometimes, you just gotta kill a fucker, right? I get it. I get you. There's more productive ways, right? There's more productive ways than dumping millions and millions of dollars into ruining, like, books that these people like. Or games. You can do other things to kill what they enjoy, right? You know that. There's ways you can make money and ruin what they like, right? I'm just sitting over here, and I'm of the opinion, right? If you're gonna be ruining what people enjoy, do it in a way that makes you money. Monetize that shit into the fucking ground. Holy shit, like, what Amazon's trying to do with Games Workshop right now. GW really wants to sell. Because they're seeing a multi-million-dollar payout, And so that's why they're doing the whole, like, they've got the whole female custodies thing, and they're trying, Amazon really wants to push for female space marines. And again, that is because politics, and also, they just want to ruin shit so that they can take something away from people that made them embarrassed, right? But, yeah, no, bread and circus is very important. And you guys already took away a lot of the bread. If you take away the circuses, they're not going to rebel and give your communist utopia or whatnot. They're just going to fucking kill you. And that's the sad part, right? Because, like, as a villain, I know very well about the whole destabilization of a country thing. And I understand, and like I said, I can respect the people who are trying to remove a nation's soft power or trying to, like, destabilize an enemy country that you're not in. But if you're in a country, right? If you're in an area that has the people here, at the very least, make some money, right? Scalp them with microtransactions. Shovel in loot boxes. Shovel in, like, game passes, map packs. Monetize, 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 monetize. Developers, 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 developers. You know, the song, right? Monetize. If you're gonna go on this fucking crusade, monetize it. Make some money. Yeah, I get the short-term bucks are pretty good, right? Oh, we shove in some politics here, we do that, we can make some money there to make up for it. But isn't it better to make money off of the handouts and the product? I mean, I guess unless you're using, like, the classic Germany scam. Did you guys know that in Germany, if you made a movie and it didn't make money, they didn't check where the money went? So you could, I don't know, buy a bunch of game properties for next to no money that nobody thought about, turn them into cheap turnaround movies so you could send yourself, your friends, and your wife on various vacations to new locations, make them in a way that it was intentionally not necessarily bad, but not good, and then collect a bunch of money off the German governments, the Czech governments, the governments of the places you're going to, the governments of the places you're coming from, base yourself in such a tax way that you can write off the entire film, and then effectively retire early off the backs of the German government. That was a thing that could happen for years. Hey, unrelated, you guys ever see Uwe Boll's Postal? Completely unrelated. You ever see that movie? Shit was wild, dude. She was fucking wild. Oh, but yeah, no, like, you can be a douche, but be a douche who makes some fucking money, right? You can ruin somebody's life, but do it in a way that, you know, gives you more power. I voted Uwe Boll's crap like the plague, and that was helping him. So the worst thing that you could have done to Uwe Boll is make one of his movies successful. You understand that, right? The worst fucking thing you could have done is help his movie be a financial success. During a very short period of time. I'm not sure. He doesn't do that now. I'm not alleging he ever did that, by the way. I would never. I would never. Never would I ever. Never would I ever. But you get what I'm saying, right? There's a lot of shit that you can do to make money, right? There's a lot. And I'm looking out for you, Mr. Villain out there. I see you. You see me. We see each other. We're on the level. I do, but damn, subjecting myself to torture for that is too far. No, I get you. Sometimes you can't just watch a movie to hurt somebody. It's okay. It's okay. Didn't he also do the House of the Dead movie? Was that Uwe Boll? Well, anyway, he was doing a lot of video game movies for some reason for a time there. No connection with the earlier conversation. But I do think, like, I see a lot of... Because there's also the times when they genuinely try to make something good, and they have the issue of just not understanding the market. Because a lot of the market researchers will be... well, I can't even say that, really. There's just a lot of misunderstanding on, like, what does the market require right now? What do people want? Look at High Guard recently, right? High Guard is okay, right? High Guard, controversial statement, it's fine. I know, stunning and brave. Stunning and brave. High guard is fine. But you spent so much money in your animations. You spent so much money into this stuff. You didn't check if anybody wants to play it. Like, really? You needed more time. You needed more, like, focus. You needed more, like, dedication. You needed more, well, focus testing, frankly. Like, there are some bugs, yeah. The performance is bad, but we're dealing with a group of people who, again, just in general, right? They're not doing a great job of optimization or anything else. Really, now that game's fine? Yeah, no. The gameplay loop is all right. The biggest issues with it are you don't have enough players on the maps. The animations had priority over everything else. Your style has priority. The androgynous characters, whatever. Okay? Whatever. If you had hot characters, you'd be able to carry your mid-gameplay a lot better, right? I think if you had really, really hot characters that have really stunning designs... Because here's the thing, right? There's this whole group who believes, oh, the male gaze, the male gaze, the male gaze. Stop trying to beat out the male gaze in order to impress upon the male gaze. Because the gay males, they like the male gaze too. People like pretty stuff. Did you know that? Even the male gaze have a bit of a male gaze. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Sex sells. Well, the thing is, pretty gives a halo effect. And if you make things that are pretty, even if they're not sexy, if you make them pretty, if you make them beautiful, people will treat it differently than if it's ugly. I know. Crazy statement from some crazy guy living on the moon. By the way, I'm on the moon. I'm on the moon. That's how I can do this. You see this moonwalking? Look at this. Can you do that? No, because you're not on the moon. I'm moonwalking. But, like, you see what I'm getting at, right? We're always on the moon. We're whalers on the moon. We carry our harpoon. But there ain't no whales, so we tell tales and sing our whaling tune. We're whalers on the moon. We carry our harpoon. But there ain't no whales, so we tell tales and sing our whaling tune. Yeah, this is why Nintendo's successful. They make things good as possible on crap hardware on purpose. Yeah, no. Like, I think, like, if you had better optimization on high guard, right? If you either decrease the map size or increase your player count. Ideally, I would say increase your player count, but that's going to cause a server strain. You can't necessarily do that. I do think the core concept of some of the, like, quick time events for, like, getting supplies, being able to combine some of the elements of, like, at its core, they wanted to combine elements of League of Legends with Overwatch and with the sort of, like, CSGO type style, right? They wanted to combine a few different things here to make something work. They wanted to do their crazy animations and whatnot. They spent too much time on the animations in some regards, and in other regards, some of the animations fall flat to me personally. I do think that they had a very... the Eye of Sauron upon them, right? Let's be fair here, Chad. Jeff Keighley put a big old bullseye on that game, and I think he was trolling. I think he was. Because it's a fine game, right? People wanted another hit. Another Titanfall, right? They didn't want High Guard. They wanted Titanfall, right? They wanted Titanfall. I think deep down inside, the dev team knows people wanted Titanfall. That's why they advertised it saying the developers of Titanfall. People want Titanfall. You know what I mean? I gotta go. Well, thank you for tuning in when you could. People wanted Titanfall. Oh, hold on. There's a bouncy. Hold on. Excuse me. I gotta catch that on my head. Hold on. Oh, come on. Can I get it back into screen? There we go. Hold on. Ah, damn it. I was gonna try to, like, bounce it to the very middle. But yeah, no. I think, like, if you spent more of your budget instead on optimization, so you could get it running better. Because really, ideally in the modern world, you want your games to run on the cheapest hardware they possibly can, right? You want hyper optimization. You want to be able to cut whatever corners you can. You want to be able to have it look pretty, but not necessarily have to look high fidelity. Because it's a lot easier to make something look pretty than it is to make it look high fidelity. Well, if you got money, it can be cheaper to make it look pretty than high fidelity. Because a lot of the high fidelity stuff you're just buying out from an Indian asset farm, right? You spend the money and you go. Or you go India or you go Brazil, right? Brazil mentioned. But you do what you can, right? You do what you can. I am frustrated. I'm genuinely frustrated. Because there's a lot of folks out there who I think have the potential to do good games. They do. And I believe the High Guard dev team had potential here. But I think that they spent too much time huffing their own farts and not enough time exploring out into areas with people that they don't like. Because sometimes you have to go out and listen to people you don't like. Sometimes you have to go out and listen to feedback that hurts. And sometimes you have to put aside some things to get your priorities straight. Even if you don't want to, right? That's like what Dustborn had. Holy shit, we had Dustborn, we had Concord. We've got a series of these games where people just put their priorities completely askew. And a lot of that's going to fall on your project lead, right? I think High Guard right now, it's not suffering because it has the ISR on it, though that isn't helping. It's not suffering just because it has all this hype, negative or positive. It's suffering because the project lead failed his job. I'm not saying failed at his job to say, I don't actually know the project lead, right? But the project lead clearly failed at their job. They clearly didn't rein things in. They clearly didn't put their actual priorities where they needed to be. There needs to be a little bit more focus on the actual gameplay loop. Your monetization strategy is fine. Selling the skins, doing the League of Legends thing. They split up animation. The banners are the best looking thing out of that, right? They have these really cool banners. The banner art was good. If you took some of the banner art budget and put it towards your UI design, the UI design is not great, right? They need to do a rework on the UI. It needs to have a better sort of appeal on the characters themselves. We need to have a prettiness to it, a beautifulness to it, something that brings people in. Whether you're doing hunky muscular or whatever, you need attractive characters, or else people aren't going to give a fuck. But you combo characters people give a fuck about with good gameplay. The writing, I think they spent a little too much time on their writing, a little too much time on their art assets in terms of the actual, like, animations themselves, and not enough time on, well, refining your gameplay loop further. The idea of getting the keys, running to the base, you do the level ups, you do the grind outs, you do these little bits to try and get yourself into a better spot. I think this could be fun, right? Right now, it's fine. High Guard is fine, right? It had some potential to be good. I would never say it had potential to be great, and that's unfortunate, right? I feel like if you had a proper, like, ad firm behind it in terms of telling people, hey, here's your demo who's going to play this game, the kind of people that are going to play the game that it is, there's not enough of them. You know what I mean? I don't know. I look at that stuff and I see a project that people poured time into, and a lot of people probably just poured money into. It's sad. It's sad. I get sad about these things because I want to see more good games, right? High Guard's not a good game. Dustborn was not a good game. Overwatch was decent. Overwatch 2 is not really a good game. Not really, it's fine. I think that, yeah, partially to an extent, people fail to understand that sex sells, and you need things that are attractive enough to get somebody to want to buy or want to play. If you don't have the attractiveness, you need to go really hard on making the gameplay the best it possibly can be, And the problem is, when you have a game that has okay gameplay, okay world design, okay, like, writing, very millennial writing. I think there was, like, one time so far in all the dialogue I've seen in that game that I've laughed. But do you need to be laughing? Okay, so if you're going to be making a character, do you need to make the character funny? That's the question, right? Does the comedy suit what you're going for? If you're doing a live service game where you are sitting down and you have decided, I want to bring people in to spend money on skins, do you need to be funny or do you need people to latch on? What are the easiest ways to latch onto a character? I think one of them is make them sexy. Or hell, have the base game characters be ugly and have them have to buy themselves one of those skins that makes them sexy. Exploit people's natural urges to want to be attractive, to want to have these things. If you gotta, right? I'm not even sitting here saying, don't exploit the people. No, fuck you, exploit them. If you're exploiting the people in a way that they enjoy, is that a bad thing? If these people genuinely enjoy the game, if they're having fun giving you money, then you're making money, they're having fun, it's called a trade. Shit. I'm never going to sit here and go, oh, you shouldn't have anything. Well, I might. I'm something of a hypocrite. But that comes with me being evil. What I am going to say is I think in general we need to have more people who are willing to sit down and go, you know what? Whether I think this is good or not, I'm going to do the thing the audience wants me to do in a way that makes me money. And then I'm going to use that money, and I'm going to use my other money, and I'm going to get me a nice solid gold bed to cry myself to sleep into on my platinum yacht. Because you know what? At the end of the day, my morality wasn't worth it. What's your morality worth? Money! Oh. I like money! Wow. Okay. Sure. You want some money? Yes! I don't know where I was going with that. Actually, I do know where I was going with that, and I know why I'm not finishing off going with that. I think, like, at the core of it all, I do have that strong feeling at the back of my mind that there's a potential in a lot of games that is missed completely because people either A, aren't willing to listen to things they don't want to hear. I know that's hard. I appreciate honesty in all things. Mr. Krabs is a Chad. You know what? Yeah, because at least he's like, he tells you, I'm greedy. I want money. The thing I've got a problem with is the ones that pretend to be something they're not. That's rich coming from a Vtuber, by the way. If you can't see the irony in that, I don't know how to help you see it. Oh, man. But, like, at the end of the day, right, you're running a business. Your business is here to make money. It's not here to make dreams come true. But if you can make dreams come true while making money, well, congratulations, right? But at least you're making money. But if you're not making money, and you're not making dreams, there's a lot of games, though. I've seen a lot of games recently where the game isn't even to make money, it's to spend the money that they're getting for the budget and produce a minimum viable product while filling their pockets. Now, I want to make it clear, I am not making any sort of allegation or accusation against any studio. This is no formalized accusation or allegation against any studio. However, there are a number of video games which I find where they put out the minimal viable product while spending the most money that they can. Now, minimal viable product can work if you're spending the minimum amount of money to get out that product. Honestly, in game design, if you're able to get a game out for $20 million, why are you going to spend $300 million? If you're able to get a game out for $2 million, why are you going to spend $300 million? Why do we need $300 million budgets? Why do we need 500, 600, 700 people? Nobody deserves a job, right? I'm going to say that. As somebody who's been fired and as somebody who's had to fire other people. No one deserves employment. No one deserves money. No one deserves food. No one deserves shelter. You earn it. Anything that has to be given to you by somebody else is not something you deserve. Anything that requires anything at all from someone else means you don't fucking deserve it. You have to earn it, you have to take it, you have to hold it. Because $289 million should be in my savings account. I mean, like, if you can leverage those assets better, right? Like, I genuinely think there's a lot of times where we've had too many people do these, like, total rehauls and overhauls of a game when you kind of just need to, okay, we finish this, we put it out the door, we move on. We fucked up. There's been a lot of times I've worked on game projects, right? And you see the budget ballooning, and ballooning, and ballooning, and ballooning, and ballooning. And what happens? Well, we throw the entire game away. And then that money goes where? Into a pocket here, a pocket there, this, that, the other. Like, I'm not even sitting here saying we shouldn't pay the CEOs like $50 million, $80 million, $100 million. I'm not. Believe it or not. Because I'm evil. I'm not saying it. Because I'm evil. I love being evil. It makes me happy. But what I am saying is, I think we should do things in a way that works to make the most money for the most people while hurting the least people. I know, crazy, right? Like, if we're exploiting a bunch of people who want skins or loot boxes or whatnot, okay, fine. But let's put that back in to making other people have fun. Let's make it the most fun we possibly can. Like, I'm not even... Hey, crazy hot take from me. Your friendly evil villain. It'll remind you why I'm evil. I don't even mind Diablo Immortal's idea of making people spend hundreds of millions of dollars. What is it, like $500,000 a year some of those people have to spend in order to keep on top? I don't even mind that. As long as we reinvest it into making life more entertaining for everybody, the whales included. You know what I mean? I think, because you need fish if you want your whale to stick around, right? I'm just saying. Why is a whale going to stick around if there's no fish? He needs krill. He needs krill. And if you make the experience a lot more fun, congratulations. Oh no, we exploited the whales, but we made a better game experience. We funneled, like, even if it's only 10% of those income, we funneled that 10% back into making the game as good as possible. Although I will say, there's a lot of times where, for example, with Pokemon, right? We brought up Pokemon earlier. So with Pokemon, they get, what is it, like $15 million budget? $12 million budget in some cases? Are they going to make more money by spending more into the game? Not really. You're going to make more money by spending less, have a short dev cycle, have these things good enough. But not everything's Pokemon. And Pokemon also has the Pokemon. They have the merchandise. They have a multimedia empire. They have cartoons. They have more things than just the game. And you need to diversify your assets if you're going to go that route. But it would be nice if you spend more money into it. And I would say that while I'm not one of those dreamers who's going to sit here and go, oh, well, Pokemon makes $500 bajillion per issue. So if you make $500 bajillion of profit, you should put $400 bajillion into it. No. I'm just saying you should put a decent amount into it so you can keep your market share before you have competition. Why the hell do you think we got Pal World? We wouldn't have gotten Pal World if they just had, not necessarily a bigger budget, but if they just had a bigger attention. You know what I mean? Right? Yeah, you're not going to make as much money, but it's political capita in effect. I feel like that's not the right wording here. It's not really political capita. But you're not getting money out of it. You're getting... It's called emotional capita, right? You're getting emotion out of it. You're getting connection out of it. You're getting these things that'll make people buy the other shit. Because if you can get somebody who is genuinely obsessed with your product, you can get a true believer who leans onto that shit, that's going to be worth more than the, like, 500,000 you spend into it, $1 million you spend into it. I'd say, like, for a series like Pokemon, getting one super spender would easily be worth an extra 500,000 on the budget, right? Or an extra, like, week of development time, or maybe a few months, right? If you know what you have and what you need, you should know how much money needs to go. Yeah, no. And the thing is, Pokemon still makes good money, right? Pokemon always makes money, right? For now. In the short term. But where's your loyalty to the rest of the company? Where's your loyalty to the future products? Oh, wait, we have entered an era where people are trading in loyalty, where people don't understand the loyalty part of the equation. If you can build a loyalty, congratulations, you're going to do a bit better. Sometimes, to make the most money, you have to exploit people in a way that gets them more loyal. Like I'm talking about with when you're running an evil villain organization. Why you put the handrails up. Why you put the OSHA safety compliance. Not because you give a fuck about OSHA. Who gives a fuck about OSHA? Not because you even necessarily directly care about your employees, but you should. You care about the employees in the sense that the employees are making you money. The employees are doing the thing. So the employees, if they do the thing better, well, you make more money. Right? None of that whole, like, human decency, love your fellow man bullshit. Spend a little bit money here, a little bit money there, grease the wheels, grease the palms. Maybe take some of that money and put it towards some nice bribery here and there with the Japanese government to try and get yourself in a better spot against certain lawsuits. Maybe refinance some of that stuff into getting political capita or loyalty capita. I don't know. I know nothing. I don't know nothing at all. I think in general we need to have a re-examination of this stuff where we set people down and beat the idealism out of them. I think, like, maybe I'm just the evil villain here. Oh, wait. I am. But maybe I'm just the evil villain here when I say, I think we need to beat the idealism out of more people. Beat some cynicism into them in a good way. Beat the irony out of them, too. I think the irony's done. Excuse me, hold on a second. What's this? What's this? Why the hell is he posing that? Hold on. Oh, that. Okay. But, like, I feel like even if you're gonna be evil, you can be evil in a way that actually fucking benefits you. In the long term. I feel like we need to teach more long-term planning and long-term consequences. I feel like there's a lot of people out there who do a lot better. Not even being better people, but just being better planners. I feel like we need more people to be able to do pattern recognition, planning, long-term solutions, figure out these things for themselves in a way that genuinely... Like, even if you don't give a fuck about anybody else, and you only give out for number one, you understand that you can look out for number one by looking out for number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5. And also, empathy can kind of be overrated too. Local villain declares empathy overrated. Decides violent overthrow of the masses. Maximum appeal. I'm just saying, man. I'm just saying. I'm not even asking people to be less evil. I'm asking you to be less stupid. Left, right, I'm the guy with the gun. Oh, man. I think that's good. I think that was a good evening. You know what? I need to do more of these Zatsus. These are fun. Just like sitting back, relaxing, chatting with you guys. It's like we're actually hanging out. I think that's fun. I think that's nice. It makes me actually kind of happy, you know that? It really does. I do think, like, at the end of the day, we all need to step back, at least a little bit, examine ourselves and examine the world around us, and realize, man, shit sucks, yo. Oh, man. That makes me happy. I am going to see about raiding us into somewhere else, chat. Let me see here. Let me see here. I want to thank you guys so much for tuning in and hanging out. If you haven't liked the video, make sure you do. Subscribe if you want to. Don't if you don't. Check things out and have a good time in general. I appreciate every single one of you. I really do. And I appreciate the time that you guys decide to spend hanging out here with me. Yoink, add a redirect. Let's see, who's live right now? You know what? Is she still... is she still live? I gotta double check on that stuff. But anyway, I want to do more of these Zatsus. Zatsus are just relaxed. They're nice, they're pleasant, they're good. They make me happy. You know that? They make me happy. Let me see here. You've raided into you, you've raided into you, you've raided into you. You know what? I think I'm gonna support Venture Trade Co. real quick. Yeah, it seems fun. Let's raid Hamstrudel, chat. Let's raid Hamstrudel. Hamstrudel. There we go. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you guys for hanging out. Thank you guys for being amazing. I'm gonna see over on the YouTubes. Twitch. I think we're all having a good time here, chat. I don't think I'm gonna raid anybody on Twitch this time, but I will raid people on YouTube. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you guys for hanging out. Thank you guys for being amazing. As always, if you guys had fun, make sure to have something. Venture Trade Co. Madness. Yes, I do like supporting Venture Trade Co. They're cool. I'm hoping that someday they have male talents. You know, that'd be fun. That'd be fun. I'm just saying. It'd be fun. It'd be cool. It'd be cool. It'd be cool.